No?
You're up.
There you go. I was waiting on my intro. Yeah. What's going on, all you scallywags and nutmeggers across the fruited plain? It's Reese on the radio, and boy, are there desperate times. Governor Lamont, somebody's sounding a little nervous, a little peakish, I might say. Governor Lamont, I don't know why he has not decided on if he's running again. I think there's some people out there who know. If you know, let me know. 860-522-WTIC. I want to know if you think that Governor Lamont's going to go for it. But I think he's a little nervous. I saw that post he put up today on X about housing and how he's helping. I almost feel like this post was sort of a feeler. Hey, let's see how people respond to this before he makes a decision. But then he did this interview on Bloomberg, and he said something I thought was odd. And it's actually something I'm hearing a lot of Democrats say when talking about their party. We'll play that audio soundbite in a sec. But Lamont is running around. How do I put this? Less than enthusiastic. Now, as you may know, he's got a challenger now. He's got a primary challenger in Josh Elliott. I don't know how he's going to do. We'll talk about him as well today. He is a part of the progressive wing. He's teetering, trying to sound as moderate as he is progressive. We should find out if we could get him on the show. Joey's in the house today. A big round of applause to him. I love it when he's here.
Thank you.
If you've noticed me online, if you watch the show online, you notice that my beard is getting longer because I'm competing with Joey.
Love it.
Joey inspired me. Well, he didn't inspire me. He got my wife to inspire me to get a beard. I think my wife, and she's not shy about when she sees, I don't freak out, like I'm not this jealous type. She goes, I really like Joey's beard.
I love that woman.
You should grow. Yeah, you do. I always tell her that. I said, Joey loves you. She goes, he does? I'm like, yes, he's crazy about you. And I said, she goes, Joey's got a really, really great beard. You should grow one too. And I'm like, okay. And here I am, looking. I mean, I think I've got 1/5 the beard Joey has.
It takes some time.
It does.
It's okay.
I've always, my entire life, I've always had trouble growing a beard. I always have. But Joey, we should see if we could get Josh Elliott on the program. If not to debate me on politics, if we can just lock him down on how far to the left he is, or whether or not he's between the far left and the moderate left, because he seems to be somewhat disenfranchised with both. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be in the middle of the middle. I don't know how that is, but he does. He doesn't. He abhors the current Democrat establishment, but yet he doesn't go all the way on the left like a Mamdani. So maybe we can get Josh on the show. At least we can put a feeler out there and say we'd love to get him on the show so we can talk to him a little bit. But I noticed this thing with Governor Lamont that I don't know if it's frustration, but it sounds like fear. Where I come from, what I heard from the governor on Bloomberg sounded like fear. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to listen. This is Bloomberg. Lamont's talking about how the middle is getting smaller. And what he means by this, by the way, this is the new talking point of moderate Democrats now. Not just talking about how their party has gotten so extreme left, also how MAGA is now extreme right. We'll get into that as well. But listen to Lamont on Bloomberg being asked about, what's going on?
Governor, it seems like for both parties, perhaps, the extreme right, the extreme left seems to be driving the politics for each of those parties. Is there even a center left for either party or both parties?
It's getting smaller because I'm there, and you're right. I think after Donald Trump's election, the Republicans are a lot less likely to want to talk to me. I always had a big table and an open door, and a lot of people looked at me and said, "God, it looks a little like a Republican." And the Democrats are sort of really fighting Trump every day, and if you don't go after him on a daily basis, you're sort of being weak in terms of your principles. So you're right, the middle is getting very small, and that's not a good thing for America.
Yeah, so he says the middle is getting quite small. I don't know who these middle ground people on the right are. I think I have an idea of what they are on the left, but he says it's getting pretty small. That doesn't sound like someone who's hopeful. That doesn't sound like a person who is hopeful for the future of the party. That sounds desperate. And I don't think that, first of all, this nonsense about the right or MAGA being extreme, that's nonsense. I'll break that down and why that talking point is frivolous, stupid, and idiotic. What it is made to do is to distance itself or use it as some sort of divider to explain, well, they've got problems over there too. Now listen to this. Dean Phillips, who wanted to run against Joe Biden, was pretty much ripped apart by his own party. How dare you? What's wrong with you? He's saying the same thing that old Lamont here is saying. But he's saying something that Lamont doesn't have the guts to say. And that is, socialists do not belong in the Democrat Party. Dean Phillips can say it, but Lamont can't. That's the desperation. Listen.
The current DNC chair, Ken Martin, fellow Minnesotan, used you as an example in saying the party is a big tent. They can welcome people from different ideological, geographic perspectives. I think he used the example of you couldn't win a race in Ilhan Omar's district and she couldn't win a race in yours. Is there room for you and Mamdani in the Democratic Party?
I think it's a fine question. I think it's one that many Republicans have been asking about, whether there's room for traditional conservatives in a party now led by MAGA Republicans like Donald Trump. The answer ultimately, I think, is no. We do share many of the same values. In fact, most Americans share a lot of the same values. But as a political party, yes, you want diversity. You want some differences of opinion, perspective, life story, politics, and experience. But when you have socialists in the Democratic Party, I don't know how anybody could argue that would be beneficial for the party or for the country. Therein lies the great challenge. Same thing on the right, Omar. Is MAGA the future of the Republican Party? If it is, there is going to be a new, grand, successful third party in America, because the overwhelming majority of Americans want neither far left or far right politics. They want decency, they want common sense, competency, and cooperation. And no party right now is elevating candidates who represent those ideals.
All right, we'll get into the MAGA part. I know you heard that and you're saying to yourself, what the hell is he talking about? Extremist and MAGA. Nah, we'll get into that much later on in the show. But he says there's no room for socialists. And I'm reading up on Josh Elliott as much as I can, because I got to bring it back to him and Ned Lamont. A representative like Josh Elliott has been considered progressive because he's expressed frustration with limitations of state-level politics when progressive numbers are lacking, suggesting a preference for a stronger progressive caucus to pass ambitious legislation. What is his ambitious legislation? He has criticized supply-side economics, arguing that tax cuts do not lead to economic growth. He believes it only ends up in reduced revenue, for politicians. He advocates for policies that prioritize economic equity over trickle-down approaches, a stance associated with the left wing of the Democrat Party. First of all, the idea that there is a opposite position to equity over trickle down. Conservatives are not for trickle down anything. It's not a platform for conservatism. It's a Will Rogers joke. It's not even real. But equity is not progressive, ladies and gentlemen. Equity is socialism. It is not equal. Equal means equal opportunity. All can get a shot. All can try out. But merit and ability will prevail. Equity, in Josh Elliott's case, is equal outcome, regardless of effort or merit. That is not progressive. That is socialist. That means at the end of the day, everybody ends up with the same thing. You keep calling it progressive, but see, that in lies the problem. Because when you ask these folks, what's the difference between socialist and progressive, no one seems to know. They're about as confused as they are about what is a woman. And worst off, Ned Lamont is afraid of that. Because again, if you can't define anything, you cannot combat it. You can see how that works? How can Ned Lamont run against a guy like Elliott when he can't even define who Elliott is? Worse off, neither can Elliott. Now, Elliott would be quick to tell you, I'm not a socialist at all. But I can explain to him how equity falls right into the category of socialism. I can tell Elliott that his problems with so-called trickle-down economics that have nothing to do with conservatism and has nothing to do with capitalism, which, by the way, socialists do not understand, or at least, your usual run-of-the-mill college-educated numbskull who likes to describe the difference between conservatism, capitalism, socialism, and Marxism. Those people who think everything is just painted with a broad brush, do not understand the nuance of any of those things. He will tell us over and over again about how he is not a socialist. But folks, I'm here to tell you that they are one and the same. If they do not believe that a group of people can make it in this country, if they actually put effort into what they believe in or desire in life. If you have people like Elliott who tell you that you cannot survive without government intervention because you lack the gravitas, the ability, the know-how without them. If you are an Elliott who believes that the government should be able to take care of the weakest, the average citizen from cradle to grave, there's something that the government can offer that individual, does not understand that the way that a people are free is by government getting out of their way. If he doesn't understand that, he is an avowed socialist. Now, the MAGA wing of the Republican Party, as they like to call it, the extreme right wing, they couldn't tell you, even if they tried, what is extreme about that movement. They just know it's MAGA. And extreme and MAGA must be one and the same without definition. No average. In fact, I would give away, what can I give away? I will give away $100 if somebody could explain the extremism of MAGA. Not based upon some knucklehead rumor that you heard through the grapevine. A true understanding of what MAGA is that makes it extreme. The sad part is that MAGA is very much like the Tea Party. There were Democrats, independents, and Republicans a part of it. The only thing they stood for was to end the overtaxing of the middle class. It's what the T stood for. Taxed enough already. But what did they do when the Tea Party formed? They found every way to call it extreme, to call it racist, to call it bigoted. They even doctored videos of people standing around with guns saying that they were white, redneck extremists. It turned out that the man that they were filming holding a gun ended up being a black man from Missouri. But anyway, that's another story. There's nothing extreme about MAGA. It's who Republicans are now. It's just who they are. They still vote with the R next to the name. They still vote their values, and many of them don't always vote with the R next to them. Some of them vote for the I. But Democrats, they're having an identity crisis. One that has got them so afraid of themselves that they don't know what to do with themselves. They can't push back on each other because they understand that they're only creating the circular firing squad that they started in the first place. Lamont can't criticize Mamdani. Lamont can't criticize Josh Elliott. Josh Elliott can do whatever he wants. Josh Elliott, like the progressives that have been born into this party, they can fire off like a madman, shooting from the hip, taking everybody down. They're obstructionists. In many ways, they're anarchists. The worst part is that the reason why the middle is getting so small is because they're cowering to their extreme left party. Because they don't want to lose votes, they don't want to lose prestige, because those things matter the most to them instead of their integrity. Instead of standing on who they are. Even though I'm reluctant to use the word, they are cowards. Because they don't understand that true strength is being able to take the slings and arrows to stand for what you believe in. And while you stand there, while they attack you, while you stand there, while they marginalize you, while they stand there, while they criticize and belittle, you stand strong. But when you say corny things like, welcome to the race, when you know the man is coming for you, how can anybody stand with you? It looks weak. It feels weak. It is weak. We got to talk about all of this. We got to talk about Josh Elliott. This stuff about this guy, how he thinks that he is not a socialist, makes me laugh. The fact that people online are suggesting, oh, he's not a Mamdani. Really? I beg to differ. This guy's, if he's not a socialist, the hell if he's hovering over it. It's kind of like the helicopter dad of socialism. He's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But we'll get into it. I got so much more of that Dean Phillips stuff to play, plus your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. Stand by. We return after we pay some bills and we get to the bottom of the hour news. I think Dave Mager's filling in today for John Silva. So we'll get to that. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Life insurance.
Near clear.
Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance is in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated, because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Northeast Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the Northeast to serve you, including our new office in Warwick, Rhode Island.
How did you get your tripping breakers fixed so fast?
ALO Home Services. Same day electrical. I gave them a call and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO, call for details. Licensed for safety, HIC 628926, P102776688, S104062441, S3308699, SM3004646, E1185643.
And now, a WTIC news update.
78 degrees at 2:30. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. High about 80 with a couple of showers. Low of 70 with a thunderstorm tonight. I-91 North and Enfield still closed between exits 47W and 48. That's after a rush hour multi-vehicle crash about 7 a.m. There were injuries. Then 2 state troopers were struck while responding. State police now say the troopers suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Others were also hospitalized. A local lawyer says defense attorney Kevin Smith made the most of videotape of the teen party brawl in Shelton. Smith's client, Rahul Valley, was acquitted in the killing of Jimmy McGrath and the stabbing of 3 others. Attorney Jim Bergen of Shipman and Goodwin was not involved in the case. He says the video was used by Smith to build an effective self-defense argument.
The defense lawyer really cracked the evidence. He let the evidence persuade rather than the lawyer. And that is the most important thing you can do. It seems like he really engaged the jury, and he covered his most important points by making specific reference to videos that supported his points.
A mistrial was declared on reckless manslaughter and other charges on which the jury was deadlocked. In a settlement, DraftKings will return more than $3 million to 7,000 Connecticut users. Those consumers took part in bonus offers from late 2021 into 2023. The Department of Consumer Protection investigated DraftKings for violating state gaming laws related to marketing, saying gaming operators must clearly dictate the terms of any promotional offer to customers. New York campus protester Mahmoud Khalil is now seeking $20 million in damages from the Trump administration. He alleges false imprisonment and malicious prosecution after his March arrest by federal agents. On Wall Street, the Dow now up 300 points, S&P up 25, NASDAQ climbing 35. And the WTIC forecast.
For the rest of our Thursday afternoon, cloudy, not as warm, but still very humid with a couple of showers around, the high of 80. Tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds linger. It remains warm and humid, too, with the low down to 69. Quite warm and humid Friday after a cloudy start. A blend of sun and clouds for the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots, the high up to 87. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sun, couple of showers, quite warm and humid again with the high back to 87. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
78 and cloudy. Red Sox host Tampa Bay on WTIC pregame at 6:10. Seattle at the Yankees. Baltimore takes a 2-1 lead over the Mets in the 8th inning. And the Wimbledon final Saturday is set. American Amanda Anisimova will play Iga Swiatek. I'm Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
Just got out of college. Let's get you the experience you need to Join Odyssey, a cutting-edge...
Say with conviction.
Creativity meets opportunity. We're looking for dynamic, driven individuals like you to be part of our sales associate program. Get hands-on training in advertising, marketing, and digital sales with the chance to work in a hybrid work environment along senior multi-market account executives. Visit odysseyinc.com/careers and search sales associate under Farmington, Connecticut.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth, certified financial planner from Money Wisdom. Tune in every week for insights on taxes, investments, income planning, Social Security, and so much more. Tune in to Money Wisdom Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be
Equipment, taxes,
scared,
and
and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Brian Shackman here for QC Kinetics. Is that knee, hip, or shoulder pain just not getting any better? Maybe you're stuck in a cycle of steroid shots. Now they're talking about surgery. Before you go down that road, hit the pause button for a second and listen. Because if you want relief without more meds, without going under the knife, call QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leaders in regenerative medicine, using treatments like advanced cellular therapy and platelet-rich plasma, all designed to actually help your body heal itself. No Band-Aids, no masking the pain. This goes to the root of the problem. These cellular treatments contain growth factors and healing properties to maximize your body's ability to heal itself. The first consultation is totally free, so you can make an informed decision on your own with no pressure. It doesn't cost anything to learn more for something that could be life-changing for you. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation at 860-440-PAIN. Again, that's 860.
There we go.
40-PAIN. They have locations in Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury, so you know it's probably pretty close to you. QC Kinetics, 860-440-PAIN.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Something actually very nostalgic just happened in the middle of me doing the program right now. I just realized it. I was like, so I had to print something up because we have a guest later on, and I wanted to print up the article that I was going to reference. And in the middle of us going up, I was like, damn, the printer's right next to the microphone, and it could probably be caught up in the microphone. And then I was immediately flustered. I said, man, I remember when Rush used to do that. He would print something on the printer behind him in the EIB studio, and I would faintly hear the printer going off in the background. And I always thought that was like kind of a little inside thing. He didn't mind doing it or having it come across the microphone, but I was like, oh, just reminded me. I also saw a picture of him behind the scenes where he sat for so many years. And it's a picture just of him on the side, and it looks like he's about to do like a hit on Fox News, because he rarely ever wore a sports jacket. And he was wearing one with a buttoned-up shirt and he's standing there. I guess he's waiting for the hit to happen. And the camera angle is different from where it usually is. So it's sort of on the side. And I looked, and there were 7 screens sitting in front of him. And I saw the picture. I screenshot it immediately, and I showed it to my wife. And I said, notice anything? And she looks at it, and she goes, no, what am I looking at? I said, just look. Tell me if you notice anything. And she goes, he's got 7 screens like you do. And I go, yep. I never saw the inside of his studio. So I just thought that was weird that he and I both kind of have the same setup. It's wild, but we do. We have the same setup. His office is set up just like mine is. So I don't know. I'm always overwhelmed by that. By the way, don't take me up on my little bed. I was just speaking tongue in cheek, by the way. I know nobody can come up with any MAGA extremism, but don't take me literal when I say that. Also, speaking of a guest, we're going to have a guest today whose Substack article is called The Sparks Report. Jay Cherry, as she's referred to, Jennifer Sparks is going to be on the program today at about 4 o'clock. We'll talk to her about the article she did on DQuat. And she is just as outraged as the rest of us trying to get the word out. So she'll join us at 4 o'clock. I finally got in touch with her, so she'll be here to talk about that. You can find her again as the Sparks Report on Substack. I don't think you have to pay to subscribe. You can check that out there. Now let's get back to this Dean Phillips thing. So Dean Phillips, as many Democrats are suggesting, is that there's a big problem in the Democrat Party, and if they don't address it, it is going to overwhelm them. But I've already said this, and again, it's coming for Lamont as well, as it is for other prominent Democrats. Now, a lot of you may be asking, what's the big deal about Mamdani? Reese, like, he's in New York. It's not the whole country. Okay, I want you to consider this. There is a leadership vacuum in New York. And they are in the line of fire from these progressives. Think about who's going to get primaried in New York as far as why it's so dire right now for Democrats in this region. Hakeem Jeffries is a New York congressman. He is the leader of the Democrat Party. He's in New York. Dan Goldman, another upstart, just in the last couple of years has made a name for himself. He's like the East Coast Adam Schiff. Swarmy guy, really worm type of individual. But he's got a leadership role in New York. He could very well be primary. And in fact, it's quite likely he will be. Oh, and the Grand Poobah. Let's not forget the Grand Poobah. Do you remember him? I even played an old song for him. The Whale for the Killing. You'll remember this. He's the whale. Oh, Chuck Schumer.
Put aside your plow, come and hear me now. You've a back that's strong and willing. Help us man our crew. There's a job for you. There's a whale for the killing.
He's the whale. All three of those guys are, that's it. And right now, AOC, she is poised to take over that position. She could become the senator for the Democrat Party. It's a wrap then. It's a wrap after that. And it's quite likely that Hakeem Jeffries is gone. It is quite likely. If they don't endorse Mamdani in New York, a guy who pulled out more votes in a primary in the history of Democrat primaries, if he doesn't endorse Mamdani and embrace a communist, he's finished. And they all know it. The leadership vacuum of New York, that's the reason why it's so consequential. That's the reason why everybody's talking about it. So here's Dean Phillips again. He already says it. We can't have a socialist in the party.
The current DNC chair, Ken Martin, fellow Minnesotan, used you as an example in saying the party is a big tent. They can welcome people from different ideological, geographic perspectives. I think he used the example of you couldn't win a race in Ilhan Omar's district and she couldn't win a race in yours. Is there room for you and Mamdani in the Democratic Party?
You know, I think it's a fine question. I think it's one that many Republicans have been asking about, whether there's room for traditional conservatives in a party now led by MAGA Republicans like Donald Trump. The answer ultimately, I think, is no. You know, we do share many of the same values. In fact, most Americans share a lot of the same values. But as a political party, yes, you want diversity. You want some differences of opinion, perspective, life story, politics, and experience. But when you have socialists in the Democratic Party, I don't know how anybody could argue that would be beneficial for the party or for the country. Therein lies the great challenge. Same thing on the right, Omar. Is MAGA the future of the Republican Party? If it is, there is going to be a new, grand, successful third party in America, because the overwhelming majority of Americans want neither far left or far right politics. They want decency, they want common sense, competency, and cooperation. And no party right now is elevating candidates who represent those ideals.
Who on the right is not elevating those ideals of common sense? Who is it? The entire party out of nowhere gave up the whole right to life, extreme, no abortion platform. We don't even platform it at all. It's the biggest coalition of minorities ever. There's no canceling of groups and individuals within the party at all. That's unheard of in the Democrat Party. How dare you? You don't celebrate the T in LGBTQ? You don't celebrate the gender assignment surgery of children? You stand up to gender ideology? You define a woman? How dare you? You are done. Please don't talk to us. We have none of that in the MAGA Republican movement, as it were. He went on. Here's what else he had to say.
Do you think it's time for some of the incumbents to face primary challenges in the ways that some of Mamdani's allies have pushed?
Well, Omar, I do agree with many of my younger colleagues who believe that we have too many members of both Congress and around the country who've been sitting in seats for too long. And as a Democrat, I believe strongly that we should have turnover. We should open opportunities for the best and brightest Americans who wish to serve. So I do think some should not be primary necessarily, but should find it in themselves to step aside and make space for others. But Mamdani, as you have referenced just moments ago, is a grave threat to Democrats around the country. He could be the mayor of New York. I think that would be detrimental for the party. Anyone who talks about seizing the means of production or opening government-run grocery stores is at great odds with most of the country, and I think Richie Torres, Hakeem Jeffries, Dan Goldman, they're spot on. If you want to be a socialist or a democratic socialist, then they should start a party. But for Democrats, it's going to be a grave consequence in 26 and I think beyond.
I totally forgot about Richie Torres. He's so soft-spoken. Richie Torres, one of the few Democrats who openly supports the sovereign state of Israel. If Mamdani becomes mayor, what's Ricky Torres' stance got to be in order to stay alive? What do you think it's going to be? Dan Phillips understands that in order for every one of those guys to stay in place, they have to, and what they've already said about Donald Trump, they would have to bow to the new leader. And that's Mamdani. People don't see it as much. They think of just literally, he's isolated. Okay. Ask yourself, why is no one just outright saying, I mean, guys like Dean Phillips, he's got nothing to lose, right? Everyone kind of feels as though, they bring him on because I'm like, he'll say the stuff that they know other Democrats won't. But ask yourself, if you've gone around anywhere, has anyone been able to flat out just repudiate Mamdani. No, they have no interest in it. They're scared to death of him. No, the guy's got a lot of pull. Here's him explaining, Dean Phillips, why Mamdani is a threat.
Why do you believe he's a threat, per se, to wider Democratic chances in the midterms?
Well, Omar, if Democrats would just put up normal candidates right now, it'd be the best strategy imaginable. But when Democrats elevate people like Mamdani, and look at him, I do not know him. I'm not going to disparage him personally, but I can tell you based on what I've read about his positions, his platform, it's nonsensical to believe that America is looking for Democratic socialists around the country. In urban America, in some cases, they may succeed. In my home city of Minneapolis, as you well know, the city council has moved far to the left, and that is creating challenges for Democrats. And both parties, Omar, the real issue here is both parties are seeing the rise of the extremes, leaving most Americans, including myself, center-right, center-left Americans, wondering what has happened. And I think that's why we are seeing bubbling interest and a grand appetite for competition, which I think is long overdue.
Yeah, he has to keep reminding everybody, there's extremists on the right too. Extremists on the right too. MAGA's extreme. Got to keep telling people that without any definition to it. Because that's all I want to know. What is this so-called extremism in the MAGA movement? Just if anybody could tell me. I doubt it. I doubt they can. What did Lori wrote something in the chat room. Let me see if I can find it here. She said something about the, if it wasn't Lori, it was someone else. Let me see if this is, if it was her, because she did one. Here it is. Yes, it was Lori. It's like trying to, no, I'm sorry. Is that what it is? Was that the one? No, I didn't see it. Gosh, I think I lost it. I have no idea where it is. But it was a great quote. Maybe I can find it somewhere. I'll see if I can find it on the other platform. But it was, in essence, what Lori was writing was the fact that everything that MAGA stands for is mainstream. It's common sense. All of it is. It believes in merit. It believes in government getting out of the way. All of those things are okay. All those things are good. Those are not bad things. There is no extremism in MAGA. And that's a made-up thing. Someone said it was, that's what it was. It was Todd who said that it was made up like assault rifles. That's what he said. That one was great. He said there's no such thing or no such saying as far right. It's a made-up term. It's like assault weapons. I love that. We got to take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views, and then your phone calls when we return. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
You're clear. You get more than you expect with McValue at McDonald's. So when you've spent too much on a night out, get deals on the after party. When you've got date night, get deals on favorites that'll make you their favorite. And when you've got family for the weekend, we've got breakfast.
Having options tastes better. Enjoy a refreshing Coke Zero included in either the $5 Hot and Spicy McChicken Meal Deal or the $6 McDouble Meal Deal. Price and participation may vary. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text SAVVY to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text SAVVY to 42424. That's SAVVY to 42424.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-5400. 4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Are you having trouble hearing?
That sound effect
Hearing
always
loss
reminds
can
me of The
devastate
Simpsons.
quality of
It does it every time.
Affordable fix for you.
The Simpsons.
I hear it. Every time I hear it, I feel
2025
about
by
that's The
Ford
Simpsons.
Bell. Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Slow? Clogged? Backed up? Don't worry. ALO Home Services has you covered. For only $93, our technician will clear any drain in your home. And if it can't be cleared, it's free. Call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628926, P10277688, S10406241, S3308699, SM3004646, E1185643.
No matter what you drive, having the right tire matters. So take control with a new set of Bridgestone tires from Town Fair Tire. You'll choose from the area's largest selection of Bridgestone tires, and you'll get the Bridgestone tire you need at the guaranteed lowest price. Plus, Town Fair will give you more free services than all other tire dealers, clubs, or online sites. Nobody beats a Town Fair tire deal.
There we go.
Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
It's Reese on the Radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let's take our first phone call. We got Paul, who's calling in from Rocky Hill. How are you, Paul?
Hi, Reese.
What's going on?
You got my attention today, buddy.
Please.
I've been following the similarities between the way our government is separating left and right on the extreme ends with the same conditions that existed in Germany in the late 1920s and beginning of the 1930s. It was the extreme left and extreme right in Germany that left a leadership void that Hitler came in and took control of by cherry picking the people he wanted to work with on both extremes, promising them if they followed him into the Socialist Democrat Party, he would promise them leadership abilities. Mm-hmm. And we all know where that led to.
Yeah, of course.
Did you know that before the Nazi Party was called Nazi, they were called Social Democrats?
I do know that. Let me ask you this, though. Let's get back to the point where you began. You said that you've been following politics for a long time, and you believe that there is an extreme right as much as there's an extreme left. If you could you describe the extreme right to me? Because I'm of the belief that where the Republican Party is today, even if it's being referred to as the extreme MAGA right by its opposition, I've failed to see where the values of MAGA folks are extreme. Can you tell me where I may be misguided there or what I'm missing?
Well, I'm not sure that's really the issue. I think the issue is that the extreme right is so set in its ways, and the extreme left are so set in their ways, they don't want to talk to each other. Mm-hmm. There is no middle ground. There is no center in America anymore. And I'm old enough to remember Ted Kennedy's concession speech in 1980, after he lost the primary to Jimmy Carter. And he warned about America going towards extreme on both ends. And
Yeah,
we just
but
need to look at what happened to Joe Lieberman.
There was an extreme. I mean, I will go so far as to say that there have been extremes in the Republican Party in the past. I would even go so far as to remember the days of Ronald Reagan, where, you know, even some of the, I would say, strongest conservative leaders, William F. Buckley, and even at the time, George Will, would roll their eyes at conservatives like Ronald Reagan, who was the epitome of conservatism in this country in the 21st century, considered one of the greatest ever as far as a conservative leader and a president of the United States. They thought he was too extreme right. And we look at Reagan today and we go, you know, people go, oh, you know, Reagan couldn't be a part of the MAGA movement today, which I think is nonsense. Of course, I think Reagan would fit right in, because if you look at MAGA Republicans, they still adore Ronald Reagan. In fact, they almost compare Donald Trump to him in a lot of ways. The only difference between those two is that Ronald Reagan did it with a bit of style and I would say class, where Donald Trump is he's a pugilist. Not that we needed Reagan to be.
But we don't have a politician with Ronald Reagan's personality now. That's badly missing.
But I think, you know, I think we need to accept
one other idea.
What's that?
It just seems strange to me, maybe more than just a little strange, maybe concerning, that a left-wing Ned Lamont in Connecticut was able to boot the centrist Joe Lieberman out. And now even Ned Lamont is being considered too far centrist. That's how far the left wing in Connecticut has gone.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Paul. I got to take a hard break. It's time for news, but thank you so much, sir. Let's do that. Let's get with Dave Mager in the WTIC newsroom. We'll be back after this.
You're
clear.
Celebrating 100 on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford. And Odyssey Station.
Hi, Joey.
70.
What's up?
8 o'clock. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. High about 80 this afternoon with a couple of showers. Low of 70 with a thunderstorm tonight. I-91 North in Enfield is back open with the left lane closed. That part of the highway was shut down for about 7 hours after a rush hour multi-vehicle crash. 2 state troopers were hurt after they responded to the scene. Police say they suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. There are no details on the other injuries yet, but others were hospitalized. A federal judge is pausing President Trump's executive order attempting to end birthright citizenship, which is in the Constitution. The judge is certifying a class action lawsuit that includes all children who would be affected by the order. CBS News legal analyst Lori Levinson.
For now, we have a federal judge saying that it would impose irreparable harm because American citizenship is the greatest privilege that exists in the world, and that the court does have the power, even under the recent Supreme Court ruling, to apply that to a class action lawsuit.
The issue will likely return to the Supreme Court. In a settlement, DraftKings will return more than $3 million to 7,000 Connecticut users. Those consumers took part in bonus offers from late 2021 into 2023. The Department of Consumer Protection investigated DraftKings for violating state gaming laws related to marketing, saying gaming operators must clearly dictate the terms of any promotional offer to customers. Several hundred people gathered last night for a vigil in memory of more than 120 people who died in July 4th floods in Texas.
It's been described as a grieving place, a 50-foot section of chain link fence adorned with flowers and pictures of those lost in the flood.
It helps knowing that people have a place to mourn and show their respects that isn't a graveyard, and I think that this is a more beautiful representation of that, and I think it shows the love of Kerrville, of just the community here.
The flowers for this particular memorial donated from shops in South Florida. Russell Scott for CBS News, Kerrville, Texas.
At least 170 remain missing, including 5 campers and a counselor from Camp Mystic, which was devastated in the floods. State Attorney General William Tong says there's a $720 million multi-state settlement with 8 opioid producers. Tong says the companies callously profited off rampant overprescription and abuse of the painkillers. Connecticut's share of the settlement will be used for treatment and prevention. The governor has signed provisions to strengthen Connecticut's mental health parity law. First enacted in 2019, the bill increases patient access to mental health treatments, requiring insurers to treat mental health and substance use disorders the same as physical illness. Governor Lamont says younger generations are still struggling after COVID.
COVID, it was just the sheer loneliness and the stress and what that meant to them physically and mentally.
The state can issue fines when insurers break the law. On Wall Street, the Dow up 253, S&P climbing 22, the NASDAQ is plus 36. And here's the WTIC forecast.
Cloudy, not as warm, but still humid for our Thursday afternoon with a couple of showers around, the high of 80. Then for tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds linger. It'll be humid and warm, the low only down to 69. Then on Friday, quite warm and humid. Cloudy in the morning, a blend of sun and clouds for the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots, the high of 87. Saturday, clouds and sun, couple of showers, still quite warm and humid with the high back to 87. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
78 degrees now. Again, 91 north in Enfield has reopened this hour with just the left lane closed. In sports, Red Sox host Tampa Bay on WTIC pregame at 6:10. Seattle at the Yankees. Baltimore beat the Mets 3-1. Yard Goats in Portland, and the championship matchup Saturday for the women at Wimbledon. American Amanda Anisimova and Iga Swiatek. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using NewsGenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of NewsGenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of NewsGenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text Rocky to 369-369. That's ROCKY to 369-369. Rocky to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
There's not much time left to go with Petro for a great deal to save on new AC. Right now, get a new energy-efficient central AC system from America's most trusted brand, Trane, with $0 down and low monthly payments. For expert AC tune-ups, 24/7 emergency repairs, and everything you need to save on AC, go with your local HVAC pros. Go with Petro. Don't miss this special offer for new AC. Go to petro.com, call 844-HVAC-4YOU or 844-482-2496 today.
You know how you always want to know about everyone else?
30 seconds.
On the podcast, What We Spend, guests will, for 1 week, tell us everything they spend their money on.
My son slammed $6 worth of blueberries in 5 minutes.
And everything that makes them feel.
I want to own a house. I want to have a child. But this morning, I really wanted a coffee.
Because at the end of the day, money is always about more than your balance. Listen to and follow.
Here we go.
An Odyssey original podcast. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Lightning round, lightning round, lightning round, lightning round, lightning round, lightning round.
Oh, it's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. They didn't tell you about the lightning round, did they? Let's get to that real quick. Some quick phone calls here. Let's go to my buddy Mark in West Hartford. I know you're on this like a hornet. Ned Lamont with his new 150-some-odd apartment inside one big cluster screw. What's going on here?
Well, what's frightening about that, in your conversation the last hour, that's more for the rest of the country. But here in Connecticut, obviously you've heard of our term uniparty. But I believe that we're probably the number one uniparty state in the country. And there's Aaron Stewart next to Lamont. Mm-hmm. And no reporter, like I would have asked her, like, if you become governor, is this a vision of yours? This 154 unit, and what it is, and what I put on Twitter, please go on Mark from West Hartford on Twitter. It's a modern day project.
Indeed.
And she refers to it as 154 homes. Like, that's not a home. I grew up with kids in the project. I've seen them when they were fairly new all the way to the time they deteriorated and had to be brought down. Those are not homes. And the black and brown community in Connecticut are going to vote for people like Aaron Stewart, possibly thinking she's middle of the road. She's on the other side. There is no aisle. I always bring that up. You people who think like, here, I'll bring up an example. It's great that Senator Harding and the other guy jumped on board, piggybacking.
Right.
You know who hasn't said anything about hydrilla at all during this past week? Sampson.
I was about to say, Nick Sampson said nothing. We also didn't get, who's the other one?
Fishbein?
Yeah, Fishbein hasn't said anything. Yep.
Where's Candelora?
Yep. And in fact, hold on. Listen to me. I specifically reached out to Candelora and said I wanted to get a statement from him. I haven't heard anything. And that was last week.
At best, what these guys are like the ankle-biting chihuahuas. And that's about all they can do. And I'm not joking because they do it all the time. Remember I told you they piggybacked off of things. The EV mandate, that was because they piggybacked off. They found the pulse of listening to the radio and people out there and probably emails that.
But Mark, hold on. Now this is exactly where you and I always go. We go back and forth here. But I get you. Don't get me wrong. I do get you. But remember, and I said this yesterday in the opening monologue, and why I said it, right? You have to start giving these folks permission to act. Because I will tell you, and I spoke to, Matt Caron about this as well, right? He even said the biggest problem with the Republican Party is that they've been putting out press releases 5 times a day, and they get nothing. Nobody bites. The news media won't cover them. They are sitting in a toxic wasteland in trying to get their press releases covered by the news media in Hartford or in Connecticut overall. And this can take the steam out of a party. So, and I'll tell you, look, again, this is not an excuse because I get your angst here, and it's warranted. It is not an excuse for people to go weak-kneed and just go along to get along, because it does frustrate guys like you. Now, most guys, I will say, when I use the term extreme lovingly, you are a hardcore Republican, and you will take no backsliders. And I get that.
I'm unaffiliated.
No, hold on.
I'm unaffiliated.
You're unaffiliated, but come on, dude. Are you going to sit up and tell me that you side with the libs?
I just had to go to a police station again because of a Republican in Connecticut that put a complaint against me.
No, but that's no. Forget about that. Forget about that. No.
Hated by both sides.
I know you're hated. Wait.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you. You may be hated by both sides, but the bottom line is you ain't never going to vote Democrat, are you?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right. So when I say, in essence, if anybody is that's what I'm saying. You're conservative. So you're critical of the party in which represents your ideals. And I get that. That's my point, is that I don't like the whole go along to get along thing just as much as you do. But when you can light a fire under them, you got to do it. And look, don't poo-poo the fact that some senators did come and start writing these letters towards Deep and to Attorney General William Tong.
But this is what they always do. I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is what they do. They did it with Eversource. The bills on Eversource, they're never ahead of the game. They always have to piggyback.
Well,
I told you, and I'm going to remind, just in case somebody didn't hear it when I told you this before, Senator Harding's first call to Tom Shattuck ever to WTIC was about the environmentalists spraying dye on the 18th green on TPC a little over a year ago. He should be calling weekly, not as a guest. Because guess what? I don't think, just like Tom would say, you don't need them on as a guest. Would you allow Senator Harding to call you a few times a week for a quick phone call like I'm talking to you right now? Of course you would.
Oh, I would love to hear from.
I
would love to know. I would love to know what they're doing and what they're talking about and what's on their agenda as often as possible, so the people in the state know how in which they're being represented. But I said this to you before, Mark, and I know that you are. Listen, I say this lovingly. You're a hardhead. You are. I get it. We talk all the time. I know you're a hardhead, but I'm trying to get you not to loosen up on where you stand. But I think that in some ways, what you are angst about is unnecessary. And that is, we can't be chiding them because they're jumping on the bandwagon after the fact. Remember, if they're...
That's what a gadfly does, though. I'm trying to prompt people into doing the right thing.
But
That's
you
my job.
but you have a
I
10...
reach more people than they do. I'm a retired firefighter who sets tile, and I reach more people in Connecticut with my big mouth than they do.
But Mark, hold on for a second. Is there a likelihood, I'm just throwing this out there, is there a likelihood that you're kind of turning them away?
Oh, nobody likes the truth.
Okay, no, but is there a likelihood that you're turning them away? Okay, so I'm just asking, and again, is to consider. Think about what the overall goal is. You can hate how we get there, but we do have a goal.
Sure.
It's like, in other words, it's like saying this. It's like if you're a coach and you're calling a play and you say, hey, I want to call a post route and throw the football. It's a passing play. And then for some odd reason, it doesn't look good, and the quarterback calls an audible, and they run it in, but they still get the touchdown. Are you the kind of coach that's going to scream and holler at them about how they scored it, or the fact that they scored it? That's all I want from you.
Well, let me leave you with this, and you know, and your audience probably knows a little bit by now. I feed you a lot of stuff, right?
You do, of course.
You say I do,
of course,
a ton of stuff. I try to set up interviews and everything. I made the attempt to do the same thing with Greg Fishbein, Rob Sampson, Themis Clearidis, Ben Proto, way back. And I found out they don't want to hear from me. I'm feeding them. I'm giving them good information, facts. I'll work with them. And you know what they did? They ignored me.
And you took that personal.
So you know what? I'm going to point that out. Like, believe me.
I know, listen. I know that you take that personally. I get it. I know that you do. But I will tell you this. I'll put it so, you've gone scorched earth at being sort of slighted. And I understand that. But I hope that you, as well as they, because I know they listen, I hope that you, as well as they, understand that the divide between what you're trying to do and their response to how their response to you is not effective or helpful. But I need there to be a middle ground where, one, they respect what you're trying to do, and at the same time, they're actually doing the job that they're elected to do. And I think that's what I'm trying to do here.
The ball's in their court.
Fair enough, of course.
The ball's in their court now.
Mark, you and I have gone.
The ball's in their court.
You and I have gone back and forth with this a dozen times. You got mad at me. You got ticked off at me. But the difference of this is, and I want you to understand, and this is why I know it to be true, that even when you get ticked off and you you know what, I'm just going away for a while, I'm not going to talk to you for a bit, we eventually come back, we find a way to get back to each other and start talking to one another and just bygones be bygones. I want you to have that same sort of approach with the guys that you just mentioned, is to give them a shot. And you know what? They've got to keep that spot by earning their keep in all of this, because it's not just you they have to appeal to, it's all the rest of us as well. So I appreciate you, buddy. You know that.
For your time.
Thank you. Yep. All right, Steve is in Springfield. How are you, Steve? Thank you for waiting.
Hi.
How can I help you, Steve?
Yeah. You kind of perked up my interest on a couple of things.
Okay,
when you were
Steve,
talking about right wing and left wing.
Yes. Okay, I want to be able to hear you because you're sounding a little muffled.
Years ago, I joined the the Libertarian Party just to do something different. But they're one of the few political groups that believes that you can have a left-wing or a right-wing tyranny. Now, there are a lot of people that insist that there's no such thing as a left-wing dictatorship.
Who says that there's no such thing as a left-wing dictatorship?
And I always thought that that was a very good use of political definition. And actually, when you were talking about Nazi Germany, when Hitler took power, a lot of the communists just signed up with the Nazis.
And was that, hold on, wasn't that, and trust me, and I tell you because I know someone I would say just barely removed. She is my stepson's grandmother, whose husband and father had to join the join the Nazi Party in order to survive. And she's alive.
Right, exactly.
She's explained that to me vividly when I asked her. I was incredibly fascinated as to why. She thought that I was immediately going to be like, oh, you Nazi lover. No. I was intrigued. I wanted to understand why, because I know there's some nuance to that. But what you're explaining and what you're describing is, again, that's what is happening in the Democrat Party. And I'm not calling them Nazis or anything like that. I don't want anybody to misconstrue. No. What I'm saying is that out of fear of being ostracized or canceled or removed from polite society, people are tiptoeing around this socialist ideal because they don't want to offend anybody. By not standing on your laurels, you will be enveloped by a movement you no longer control. You know what I mean? That's where they are here.
Well, it's like when kids go to high school and then they join a gang. A lot of times the kids will join a gang to protect themselves from the other gang.
Yeah, exactly. I heard most of that, Steve. I don't think the audience did, but thank you, man. I appreciate you. You got it. Let's go. Adam's in East Hartford. Hello, Adam. Are we staying on topic today?
Oh, I can't talk about the dicot?
Oh, no. We got that coming up, but sure. What do you got?
Well, let me just pull over because I've been holding them. Hang on. Let me just put it in park. Hang on 1 second. Here we go.
Okay.
Hey, I work for a public water utility. I had to leave in December of 2020 because of the eyes and the balance issues. But that was one of the things we sampled for. We sampled every 3 years. It was under a category of synthetic organic chemicals, and we would get them at the entry points, like a well or a reservoir that goes to a drinking water plant.
Okay.
So we only sampled every 3 years. It was in a brown bottle with a little bit of reagent in them. And I wish I knew more. But luckily for my utility where I worked, and it wasn't the MDC, we never had a violation, but we did sample for it every 3 years, every 36 months.
So wait a minute. So you sampled every 36 months the use of DQuat or its viability or toxicity? Is that what the
lab would analyze that, and our water quality experts would go over that. I just collected them. But what I mean is, what we do is you have yearlies and quarterlies, and then every year. And DIQUAT was only in every 36 months, luckily for us, because it was part of an SOC, synthetic organic chemical test, where they test for pesticides, herbicides, and then that. And it was like a $900 test or $1,200 test, depending on which lab you used. So we would sample for it every 3 years. But yeah, you don't want it in the drinking water.
Where would you test this? Would this be in a confined and controlled area?
Well, if the well has a designated sample tap, we would always put a chrome sample tap on the pipe going to the if it went directly to the customers, we'd have a chrome sample tap on the pump.
Oh.
And if it was going to a holding tank, we'd have a designated, like water treatment plants, they have chrome designated sample taps.
Right.
So we would get it every 3 years. Yeah, it was part of synthetic organic chemicals.
Well, I will tell you the interesting part about what the EPA have found on this study, right? I went to go look up directly on the EPA's website, which the Congresswoman Renee Muir had suggested. I went there. The last comprehensive study, if you can call it that, was of 2019. Before then, the last comprehensive study was in 1998 for DQuat. Everywhere else that has banned it has done a study as recent as 2023, and it's still banned.
All right, I'll keep listening to the show because I'm learning, and you have a really nice day. Reese,
I
right?
appreciate it. Thank you, Adam. A lot of people are finding more and more information about it, and there's so much stuff. We're going to talk to Jennifer Sparks in the 4 o'clock hour about this very, very soon. We'll get to all of that and much, much more. Her article in Substack is called "The Madness of DQuat." Trump derangement syndrome has made people blind to the actual issues we face in Connecticut. And we'll talk to her about that article. She's one of the people who are trying to get this, put a stop to this as well. Dean Phillips is, look, I would call him a rational person on the left, but then again, he's on the left. And this constant theme about suggesting, well, the MAGA Republicans have their problem. Moderate Republicans can't exist in the new MAGA Republican world. I want you to think about who they're talking about when they say regular Republicans. Ask them if they're talking about, I don't know, maybe Tom Tillis. I would say that's who they would consider a moderate Republican. You want to know why? Because he voted against the one big beautiful bill. They'll immediately call him a moderate Republican. But ask them if they would call Thomas Massey a moderate Republican. Or Rand Paul. He voted against the big beautiful bill. He votes against any extension of raising of the debt ceiling. He is as fiscally responsible as they come. Sometimes I consider him more radical than his own dad. But would they call him a moderate Republican? Hell no. Hell no. So what are they talking about? Lindsey Graham? Maybe back when John McCain was alive. Not today. Is Ted Cruz an extreme MAGA Republican? Apparently so. How about Josh Hawley? Is he a moderate Republican? Oh, let's go one step further. Let's talk about somebody I know they like. A lovable guy. Funny, engaging, quick wit. How about John Kennedy of Louisiana? Would they call him a moderate Republican? Of course not. They couldn't tell you what a moderate Republican looked like that was outside of Lisa Murkowski, who usually votes with the Democrats. That's what a moderate Republican is. As Mark in West Hartford just says, he believes that's, Aaron Stewart, he thinks it's nothing more than a rhino. Is he right? I don't know. I'm not, it's going to take a minute. I understand to go along and get along in Connecticut. Sometimes you have to legislate. What was it Donald Trump said about the abortion thing? He's the first president to ever speak at a pro-life rally in the history of pro-life rallies. First president to do it. Spoke there. And what did he say during the campaign of 2024? Huh? What did he say? He said, you have to get elected. You have to get elected. You can't be extreme on the abortion issue. You have to be reasonable. You have to leave it to the states, he said. And he was right. He's always been right on that. Some people get on Mark because they think he's too extreme. He won't give a little wiggle room. Not that the guys that he's going after don't kind of create their own issue. They're kind of responsible for that reaction. But there are some good ones out there. I will admit, I was Candelora. I thought I'd hear from him. I thought that I would, especially on this, on the DQuad thing. I would love to know their stance on it, whether it's a private or public point of view. We have to take a break, don't we? Yeah, let's take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. We've got headlines coming up. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Men, summertime is here.
Clear.
It's vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be. Maybe even your sex drive is off. And if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore.
Hey,
Just
I can
call
send
Northeast
you the
Men's Health,
between
get
rounds
treated,
winner, right?
and see how it
Yes, sir.
life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an improved sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the Northeast to serve you, including our new office in Warwick, Rhode Island.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
And now, a WTIC news update.
78 degrees at 3:30. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. High about 80 this afternoon with a couple of showers. Low of 70 with a thunderstorm tonight. 2 state troopers are recovering from what are described as serious but non-life-threatening injuries suffered on 91 North in Enfield. They were responding to a multi-vehicle crash when they were struck. Others were injured in the initial crash. We're waiting for more details on those injuries. 91 North in Enfield reopened last hour with just the left lane closed after it was shut down for about 7 hours. State Attorney General William Tong says there's a $720 million multi-state settlement with 8 opioid producers. Tong says the companies callously profited off rampant overprescription and abuse of the painkillers. Connecticut's share of the settlement will be used for treatment and prevention.
We went and fought for this. This is not money that the state necessarily, when you turn on the lights in the morning, is entitled to. You have to go get it. And Connecticut has led in a very significant way on all of this work.
A federal judge is pausing President Trump's executive order attempting to end birthright citizenship, which is enshrined in the Constitution. The judge is certifying a class action lawsuit that includes all children who would be affected. The decision puts the issue on a fast track to return to the Supreme Court. Paul McCartney going back on the road.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
83-year-old McCartney has just announced his first full North American tour since 2022. He'll kick it off in Palm Desert, California, September 29th. Then hit cities including Las Vegas, Minneapolis, Atlanta, New Orleans, Chicago, and Montreal.
Baby, I'm amazed the way you love me all the time.
Tickets go on pre-sale next Tuesday for people who pre-register on the tour website. General ticket sales begin July 18th. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
McCartney will play Buffalo and Montreal in November. The WTIC forecast.
For the rest of our Thursday afternoon, cloudy, not as warm, but still very humid with a couple of showers around, the high of 80.
Hour 15.
Tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds linger. It remains warm and humid, too, with the low down to 69. Quite warm and humid Friday after a cloudy start. A blend of sun and clouds for the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots, the high up to 87. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sun, couple of showers, quite warm and humid again with the high back to 87. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
78 degrees now on Wall Street. The Dow is up 243. S&P climbing 21. The NASDAQ is up 30 points. In sports, Red Sox host Tampa Bay on WTIC. Pregame at 6:10. Seattle at the Yankees. Baltimore beat the Mets 3-1 the final. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
At Ayala Home Services, we handle hundreds of water heater issues a year. We know how much of an inconvenience no hot water is, and with our fully stocked trucks and warehouse, you can get your hot water back as soon as the same day. Contact the trusted professionals at Ayala Home Services when you call, click, or text today.
What's up,
and say,
Zach?
hello, Ayala. Call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628-926, P10277-688, S1040-6241, S3 308-699, SM 300-4646, E1 185643.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You'll get more than you expect with McValue at McDonald's. So when you've spent too much on a night out, get deals on the after party. When you've got date night, get deals on favorites that'll make you their favorite. And when you've got family for the weekend, we've got breakfast.
Having options tastes better. Enjoy a refreshing Coke Zero included in either the $5 hot and spicy McChicken meal deal or the $6 McDouble meal deal. Price and participation may vary. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-352-9239. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-352-9239. 800-352-9239 or biglou.com.
I'm elder law attorney Haley Allaire. Our greatest reward is happy clients telling us that they're very thankful for our help.
I'm Carolyn from Coventry. Recently, my 82-year-old mother had a few falls and ended up in rehab. What we thought would be temporary care became permanent. When we applied for Medicaid, it was overwhelming. From our first meeting with Allaire Elder Law, they listened and guided us, providing clarity, kindness, and compassion. We were finally granted Medicaid, and a huge weight came off my shoulders. Thank you, Allaire Elder Law team.
AllaireElderLaw.com.
Is your old AC system buzzing its last breath? Install a new energy-efficient system with Call the Bee, and we'll buy your old
30 seconds
up to $1,500 and put it to good use to train the next generation of local HVAC pros. Enjoy lower energy bills, quieter performance, and comfort all summer long. Visit callthebee.com. That's calltheletter.com to schedule a free estimate. Call the Bee, Connecticut's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical professionals. We'll be there, and we'll be fair.
Crappy radio signal? Then listen to WTIC on the free Odyssey app.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let's get some headlines in real quick. We'll get back to the phones. This will be brief. Despite pushback from the likes of Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, reports still suggest that President Donald Trump is considering an amnesty bill for illegals in the hospitality and agricultural sectors. Now, we've been keeping an eye out on this. at Reese On The Radio. I haven't seen anything. I know he talked about it on that stump speech in, was it Iowa or Idaho? No, you don't. I don't know where this is. I know there's been some pushback, but not in the way that's meaningful. To me, again, something about it stinks to high heaven when the news media talks about it. But on the other hand, even if there is, I believe that this is one of those things. This is a bait and switch. This is a gotcha for the Democrats. Now, think about what I'm saying here. You write a bill that gives illegals amnesty, right? You even throw in the DACA kids, right? That's not even a big thing to Democrats anymore. They're running in the streets and fighting ICE agents to keep these people in the country. If I'm going to write an amnesty bill, which is what they want, it is red meat for the left. Just put some caveats in there. Now, I've got some that many might seem a bit much. In fact, I'd love to hear from you on it. But here's what my caveats are. And I'm going to take a little page from, Uncle Rush Limbaugh. 1, they can't vote for 25 years. 2, they got to go to the back of the line. Right? They can stay, but they got to go to the back of the line. And they can't be in the census for 2 cycles. It's 20 years. They can get in on the 3rd. They can't be included in the census. And, of course, they have to do everything else that everyone must do to become a citizen. They can't just just chill out in their homes and do whatever. No, they have to go through it. Know things about American history. I know we can't control people assimilating. We can't, put them in some sort of school that teaches them how to become Americans. But they got to go through the same process. They must know things about American history, be able to pledge allegiance to the flag, all that good stuff. That's all. Just do that. And then we'll see what the Democrats say. How they push back, how they spin it in the media, how the media turns around and pushes back on it and says, this is draconian, what the Trump administration is asking these people to do. And then, of course, the polling will come out and it'll be like 70-20, 70-30 for the idea. Anyway, the future of music. Turns out that a popular 60s folk rock band called the Velvet Sundown, with 1.1 million Spotify downloads, has been outed as an AI-generated hoax. Fans caught on to it after they realized that they could find no background on the band members anywhere. Turns out that the whole thing was all the music and everything, just AI-generated. And apparently it was so good, it got 1.1 million downloads. That's insane. Now, I know, Joey, you're a music guy. Would you still listen to the band even if you found out it was AI generated, or would that just ruin it for you?
It's got a good beat. I'm down.
Yeah, you're down, right? But look, I believe that we've gotten to the point that there just isn't quality music being made by humans anymore. So
it's so altered. Like, is it really real anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Ever since auto-tune became a thing, thank Rick Ross.
Yes.
Like, is it even music anymore?
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you this. Here's a little bit of trivia. Do you know what was the first song to ever use auto-tune? This one's gonna throw you for a loop, and it's a song that I hate. But the singer is world known.
Can I get a genre for $20?
Okay, I'm going to go. Been around for over 6 decades, and pop.
6 decades and pop
and female.
I'd say we're going back to Cyndi Lauper or Madonna.
I'm going to go neither of those.
Okay.
But try older.
Oof. Older.
She's older. The song is far more recent.
I got nothing.
Cher.
Okay.
If You Believe in Love After Love was the first.
Yeah. It makes sense now.
First song ever done with auto-tunes. I didn't even know that. I found out some trivia site that said that. Yeah. That's what it is. Also, the pediatrician, Christine Probst, who was fired from her job as a pediatrician, has now officially apologized for her social media post that suggested that the Texas community that was savaged by floods over the 4th of July weekend, that they deserved it, because of who they voted for. Of course, you know that over 100 people have now been pronounced dead and over 160 people are still considered missing. She says that she put up the post before she realized that there was any loss of life. People have started going back and forth about whether or not, that is true. When did she put the post up? But I don't think that that's the case. I think when we first heard about the floods, we immediately heard about the girls who were swept away at the Mystic Camp or Camp Mystic. So I don't think that really jives. But she is somewhat apologized, or full-throated apologized, saying that she was frustrated about politics, which caused her to write the post. I don't know what to make of that. On the other side, Sadie Perkins, the other woman who said that she thought it was wrong for people to be running around searching for little white girls in an exclusive white-only camp, she's doubling down, and she's doing interviews now. But I will say there is some good news about Sadie Perkins. Apparently, some supporter of hers put up a Give, Send, Go crowdfunding page for her, so that you can give her $5 to insult her. And I think the last report was that only $140 were generated.
That's insulting on its own.
Some people did take the opportunity by paying $5. One person saying that they wish that she got ALS as a result of her post. Yeah, the guy said, I'm going to pay $5 just so I can tell you this. And I'm going to say for that, the quote alone, which I'm paraphrasing, alone was worth more than $5.
That's money well spent.
Yeah, money well spent, indeed. And that's your headlines. Let's get back. I'm sorry.
Quick side note, going back to the whole flooding thing.
Yes.
It's basically they look at a disaster and figure out how to blame anyone.
Yes.
If, God forbid something like this happened in the South, it'd be, it happened because Trump is racist. There's no, we just insert storm, insert Mad Lib, adjective, noun, verb, and that's our new headline.
And it's incredible. It's even Chris Cuomo went after Chris Murphy, of all people, for the same thing, for tweeting out craziness about the meteorologist and the national weather. It's saying that it was understaffed, even though they've come out in an Associated Press article saying, no, that we had 5 people when there are normally 2 because of the storms. But you're right. And it's interesting because this is the part I've really recognized about those posts. People are very myopic. In other words, they look at the flood from their own existence, like where they are. You were talking about this earlier before the show. It's that they were looking at the space that they live in, like Hartford, Connecticut, not understanding a town like Kerrville in square mileage is, what is it? I think it's a little more than 10 times the size.
I got the numbers here. So Hartford County, and our weather guys, Bob Cox, and they all take flack for this too.
Yeah.
So think about the forecasting in the state of Connecticut. Right. Hartford County is 735 square miles.
Right.
Kerr County is 1.1 million.
Yeah.
You can't get the weather forecasting down to the county in Connecticut. What makes you think they can do it in Kerrville County, Texas?
Indeed. And also, I talked about this yesterday, if not the day before, that another key part of this, in fact, it was the day before yesterday, Dave Mager, actually, I brought him on to play the clip that he played during his news broadcast, where one of the local residents said that there are a lot of people in the area who are complacent. The last time there was a storm of this magnitude was in the late 80s. Now, you think about that. That's almost 40 years ago. So with that, you have an entirely new generation who didn't experience that flood in the 80s. Now they're here. They know that the town floods. They've seen it flood before, but they've never seen anything like that for 40 years. And then when it happens, there's no design, if you will, for those people who are experiencing it at that moment in real time. And to make matters worse, because you go to Texas a lot, you know that at night it is pitch black with the exception of the moon if it's out.
It is the darkest. Yeah, it's
okay.
Straight darkness.
You can't see in front of your face.
No.
Okay, if you're out there, it's not like street lights everywhere.
There's no the light pollution thing is non-existent.
Yeah, exactly. One of the most daring stories I heard was on Fox and Friends. The Monday after, Lawrence Jones, who's from Texas, was talking to a young man who dangled from a fence in his yard for 5 hours, I believe, until the water finally stopped coming. And the last thing he did was call his parents, and he had to wait there and hold on for dear life. And finally, he was able to free himself. But he woke up in the morning to the water in his home at his knees, and then it just flushed in. By the time it was over, his house was underwater. And I looked at some of this stuff, 30 feet of water in the middle of the night in the pitch dark with one of the most deadly items or elements that you could ever be caught in. A fire is one thing. At least that gives you light. But if you're surrounded by it, forget it. There's no way out. But a flood in the dark, it's water. And you don't know where you're stepping, and everything that's in your home has now moved or shifted. You could end up being trapped. You could end up sinking. You could end up being hit in the head. Anything could happen, and it's over. So people aren't looking at that and considering any of that, thinking like all the warnings they could have had. If you were getting a warning at 1:13 in the morning, which they did, by the way, the alarms went off at 1:13. If you're sleeping and you're in a remote area with no way to get any info to you, you're done. So that's why I suggest, and I say this for anybody even in Hartford, in a cosmopolitan city like that, get a NOAA radio. NOAA. Go pick one up. You can get one on Amazon right now. It's the most important thing you can have in your house. And if you have kids, get one for them too. Because if there's an alarm that goes off, they will hear it. It will wake everybody in the house up. But go spend that money on that NOAA device, especially if you're in a remote area or you go camping and stuff like that. We could have, what's the town that just got hit last year? Goodness, wow, Oxford. Yeah, the way Oxford got hit. I mean, no one expected that. I looked at Oxford after that storm and went, really? Like, you wouldn't think that something like that would happen in a town like in a state like Connecticut, but it does, because there are areas that are like that. And I remember we talked about people who didn't have flood insurance in that area, who were probably not going to be able to rebuild. So again, those things are important, and it does need perspective. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there because we brought it up. We'll get to your phone calls, 860-522-WTIC. Again, 860-522-9842. Coming up, we've got Jennifer Sparks from Substacks, the Sparks Report, coming up to talk about her article on DQuat and so much more with her. And we're going to make her a mainstay here for a little bit. We'll talk to her in a bit, and we'll read your comments in the chat room as well. So stick around. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Wesley Financial Group.
You're clear.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation
And thank you for that. That was a good seg.
2011.
Sorry to hijack your segment a little bit.
It was good. It was good.
Goal in mind to help honest folks out of their timeshares.
Yeah, I mean, even like where we're going, like they have the towns, like the whole, I forgot what they call it.
Treating
like for light pollution, all your light has to be pointed down.
Yes.
Clear sky. It's like, it's crazy.
The largest
And it is. It's just straight up dark.
insulation company in the United States.
Street lights in that area are definitely optional.
One of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with
And the thing is, everything's so flat down there. Like the water can travel miles, and there's nothing to stop it.
It's, I'm telling you, I don't know if you saw the pictures, but I sent them
Call
to
Wesley
Janine.
now for your free timeshare
These
exit kit.
we thought one particular set of
800-885-9700.
trees, the way they were sitting, we thought
800-885-9700.
lightning
That's
struck them. That's how ripped they were.
800-885-9700.
They were ripped apart. We thought lightning had struck the area.
One of the classes I took in college is materials processing. The teacher talked about it, and I use this quote all the time. No matter what you do, water will always win. That's why there's a Grand Canyon.
With reliable connectivity.
Like, you're not, I mean, look at a few years back, those tsunamis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Water will not move. It's moving you.
That's right.
Possibilities.
There's a reason why all big equipment uses hydraulics. The power of fluid is absurd.
Yeah.
Megabit internet for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Hey, it's...
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's Jeff Chandler.
Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters.
30 seconds.
Our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Check out WTIC on Instagram and then lose an hour because you start scrolling and you go down a social media rabbit hole, and then there's the video of that dog with the skirt on.
We're back. It's Reese On The Radio, NewsTalk 1080. Again, don't forget, we've got Jennifer Sparks on the program from Substack. The Sparks Report, we'll talk to her in a little bit about the DQuat usage in the waterways. I'm actually looking at so many things about this. You would be stunned. I'm getting this information that's being sent to me from everybody. And by the way, keep it coming. If you know something new about usage of this, somebody sent me something from Florida and how they use it there, and talking about DQuat in that study. I know, look, you hear these people all the time saying, no, we've thoroughly studied this. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. That's why I said, when I say they're lying to you, I mean it. They're lying to you.
The same people that studied the COVID vaccine.
you had to hear yesterday when I read that darn letter. By the way, go to WTIC.com or download the Odyssey app so you can listen to yesterday's show where I did the COVID-19. I switched everything about DQuat and Hydrilla. I switched it with the COVID vaccine and COVID-19, and I switched the letter. And it's amazing that it sounds just like they did when they were talking about COVID. I also want to give a shout out to Zach B. Zach B says that no one in Oxford has insurance or flood insurance because they have never seen a flood like that in 70 years. Which, again, my point exactly. When you are so out of that scope or you're beyond the time in which it was, detrimental to the town, people, it's not about complacency. I know people use that, but, you hear about a flood and you're like, we haven't had anything like that since, World War II. And then you don't do anything. It's like, it almost seems pointless. You'll even talk to your insurance agents like, hey, should I get flood insurance? We haven't had anything since 1940-something. And you say to yourself, I don't want to have to waste the money on, insurance that I don't need, because it is always about saving money. My wife, on the other hand, we have insurance we'll never use. It's because when we were renting, she had renter's insurance. When we were renting. You know how many times I've rented? My entire life. I never even thought about renter's insurance. And I heard about it. But I was like, renter's insurance? Nobody's going to rob me. And I never had been robbed. Same thing when I was living with my wife. We were living together just as a couple. Never worried about it. When she told me we had renter's insurance, I was like, for what? She was like, because. So, like I said, I'm not telling anybody what to do with their finances. I get it. You'd say to yourself, you're not going to need it. But if you can, find something that you can sort of swap out to pay for insurance that you normally wouldn't get. What does Zach say here before we go to break? I'll read this real quick. He said, federal flood program might be $1,800. Private flood policy would be around $3,800. Regular homeowners rates are around $3,000 to $5,000. So you're talking 100% additional to your base premium just to cover flood. No, I think you're saying what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, it's expensive. It's a price that some people aren't, or a cost that people aren't willing to take. So I don't know. Zach also said you'd be surprised how few people have no personal coverage. Yeah, I know. Let's get our first check of the weather and traffic for the show. Jason Caterina is in with the weather. And my good friend Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Let's ask Mark real quick. Is there an insurance you wouldn't pay for? Like would you get dog medical insurance?
I don't know if I could afford that.
See, that's what I'm saying. But you know it exists. Did you know it exists?
I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't get my legs insured.
No?
No.
Okay. No. Interesting. That's interesting. Now I have to investigate.
Take a walk in the wild side.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, Reese, if you're heading into Hartford right now,
You're clear.
Thank you. Delays 34.
Yeah, the one thing on insurance. So when the tree hit our house a few years back, the one thing people skimp on that we did not, fortunately, is loss of use coverage.
Ooh, wait, explain. I never even heard of that.
That's the one that covers your hotels, your food, if you're like, we were out of the house for 4 months. So that hotel bill was ridiculous. Like, going out to eat, stuff like that. That's where loss of use comes in.
Gotcha. So you have to, right. So you staying in the hotel, your loss of use coverage covers that expense.
Yep.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you know what? Roseanne just came in here and she says, yep, we're getting that.
Yeah, because I mean, our hotel bill for 4 months was like $70,000.
Holy moly.
Up to 59.
And the insurance, and then like the other one you got to look into is, so your items.
WTIC News Talk 1080.
Brought to you by Staples.
If you have, what's it called?
Oh, okay. Roseanne says we have that one.
There's depreciation value or replacement value.
We have replacement.
Yes, a lot of people do depreciation because it's cheaper.
Oh.
Well, your couch is depreciated in 6 months.
That's right.
WTIC weather.
For tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening.
So, we were able to replace a lot of that stuff because we had replacement, not depreciation value.
Quite warm and humid for us on Friday. A cloudy start, then a blend of sun and clouds in the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots, the high up to 87. Then on Friday night, becoming cloudy, remaining warm and humid again, the low only down to 70. Sun and clouds with a couple of showers Saturday, still humid, the high up to 87.
Oh, well.
I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
79 degrees, 4 o'clock. I'm Dave Meagher, WTIC 1080 News. High right around there with a couple of showers this afternoon. Low of 70 with a thunderstorm tonight. 2 state troopers are recovering from what are described as serious but non-life-threatening injuries. They were suffered on I-91 North in Enfield. They were responding to a multi-vehicle crash when they were struck. Others were injured in the initial crash. We're waiting for more details on those injuries. 91 North in Enfield reopened in the 2 o'clock hour with just the left lane closed after it was shut down for about 7 hours. The federal judge pauses President Trump's executive order attempting to override the Constitution to end birthright citizenship.
The federal judge certified a class action lawsuit that includes all children affected by the executive order, ruling it violates the Constitution. Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
We have a federal judge saying that it would impose irreparable harm because American citizenship is the greatest privilege that exists in the world.
President Trump's order would abolish citizenship for children born in the U.S. to parents in the country illegally or temporarily. The judge allowed a week-long period for appeals. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
New York City campus protester Mahmoud Khalil is now seeking $20 million in damages from the Trump administration. He alleges false imprisonment and malicious prosecution related to his March arrest by federal agents. One prominent local lawyer says videotape of the teen party brawl in Shelton played a role in yesterday's acquittal of Rural Valley in the killing of Jimmy McGrath and the stabbing of 3 others. Attorney Jim Bergen of Shipman and Goodwin was not involved in the case. He says it's clear others were not held responsible for their violent behavior.
The criminal justice system responded, but unfortunately it responded only on one human being. And the jurors are watching these other people beat the crap out of people, stomping on them. And none of those people get charged. In fact, two of the key witnesses got immunity for what they did. So that's not something that satisfies a juror.
A mistrial was declared on reckless manslaughter and other charges on which the jury was deadlocked. At least 170 remain missing from the July 4th floods in Texas. They include 5 campers and a counselor from Camp Mystic. Jonathan Lamb is with the Kerr County Police.
The response here in Kerr County continues to expand as the mission becomes more technical. There's more than 2,100 responders on the ground here from state, local, and federal agencies.
More than 120 people are confirmed dead. Governor Lamont signs a bill that cracks down on insurance companies that aren't complying with the state's mental health parity law. The bill requires insurers to consider mental health treatments the same as physical illness, saying it's clear children and young adults need more support in that area. The governor recalls a conversation with a student at Enfield High School after the pandemic.
Said, look, if you guys had, say, $100,000 from ARPA, what would you do with this money? And there was the student representative on the board, and kind of looked like a tackle for the football team. And he said, Governor, if I had that money, I'd ask for private counseling. And I speak for an awful lot of my friends.
The updated bill issues fines for noncompliance. On Wall Street, the Dow closing up 192, S&P climbed 17, the NASDAQ was up 19 points. In sports, Red Sox and Tampa Bay on WTIC from Fenway Park. The pregame at 6:10. Seattle at the Yankees. Baltimore beat the Mets 3-1. American Amanda Anisimova will play for the championship at Wimbledon. She upset top seed Arina Sabalenka in 3 sets. In the other semi, Iga Swiatek beat Belinda Bencic in straight sets. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Maker. WTIC 1080 News.
Are you a proud Connecticut business owner? We are too. With more than 48 years of experience handling business transactions for small and mid-sized businesses. And we know that not every business relationship works out as planned. If you found yourself in a dispute, call the law firm of Brown, Payne, Darris & Scott. Our team of business lawyers have over 100 years of combined experience. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Nick Payne Darris is responsible for the content of this ad.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
30 seconds.
Yes, sir. News Talk 1080 with you all summer long for the information you need. Weather forecasts from Bob Cox help you plan your summertime activities. Taking a trip? Mark Christopher's traffic reports will get you there without the hassle. Plus, up-to-the-minute news reports twice an hour. No matter where you go, listen on the Odyssey app and stay informed with what's going on back in CT. Because when you're on vacation, we're not. WTIC News Talk 1080. Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We got the stupidest thing I read today coming up, and it sounds just like the stupidest thing I read yesterday. It's more and more reports that are talking about the immigration issue. We'll get to that as well. But also coming up, we've got Jennifer Sparks of the Sparks Report. She's going to talk about her article on DQuat and a bunch of other stuff that's happening in the state of Connecticut. Substack is right now kind of the place to go to read news that you won't read anywhere else. As you all know, that we have an unreliable and irresponsible news media today. And, although there are, not the entire thing, but we know it's a growing sentiment among people who listen to talk radio who understand that. But thank God for places like Substack and, of course, people like Jennifer Sparks of the Sparks Report. We'll talk to her a little bit about that and about DQuat and some other stuff and how you can find her if you want to subscribe to her Substack or any other one of the pages that she goes to. I'm finally got in touch with her. She friended me on Facebook. I didn't know who she was, but then somebody told me about her and says, hey, you should talk to her. And then I reached out to her. It took her about a week because she's so damn busy. And I understand that when you're busy and everybody's fawning over you, they just all want you to be a guest. So we're thankful to have her. We'll talk to her in a quick minute after we get some weather and traffic, of course, from our intrepid reporters in weather and traffic, Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher, who's in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, I just want to let you know that Mark in West Hartford said, what are you talking about? You're not going to insure your legs. Mary Hart of Entertainment Tonight, she financed her legs at $1 million.
She certainly did back when she was doing Entertainment Tonight. And Mark just texted me, busting my stones about that.
Good enough.
And you see Mary Hart, if you ever watch a Dodgers game, she's always right in back of home plate with her husband, Bert Sugarman.
Is she?
Yeah, she's right behind home plate. She used to sit right next to Larry King before Larry passed on.
Oh, wow.
But you could still see her sitting there behind home plate at Dodger Stadium. So she's got those sweet seats. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now,
you're clear.
You're on the southbound side of 91. You got some slow traffic as you move from exit 33 down to 32A and B in Hartford. Another bump down by exit 28. Northbound 91 moving very well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is a little tight approaching the Bulkley Bridge. East Hartford to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound, some slow traffic approaching 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 through 84 OK2 eastbound is in good shape. Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 northbound a little slow down at the Eric Carney Bridge in Middletown. 91 south slowing in Meriden 19 to 17. 84 eastbound in Waterbury, some sluggish traffic 17 to 18. Westbound 84 in Waterbury slows 22 to the Mixmaster. Northbound on the Parkway delays 59 into the West Rock. Southbound on the Parkway slowing 60 into the West Rock Tunnel. This traffic report being brought to you by Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. Stuck in traffic again? Don't waste another minute. Columbia Implant Center in Manchester gets you in and out fast, often in just one day. Open 7 days a week. Get your smile back now. Columbia Implant Center, ColumbiaImplantCenter.com. Traffic and weather together on the 8 WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
All right, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds persist. It remains warm and humid, too. The low 69. Quite warm and humid on Friday. Cloudy morning, sun and clouds for the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots, the high 87. Saturday, couple of showers, warm and humid, the high 87 again. Sunday, still warm, more sun than clouds, the high of 85, and still humid, too. Right now, it is 82 in Danbury, 76 nice in Bridgeport, 79 in Bristol, and 78 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. That's Hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hi, Joel Johnson here with Johnson Brunetti. Hey, retirement income. Are you sure that you're maximizing your retirement income? Get the
30 seconds.
Checklist from us. Absolutely free. Text the word checklist to 1-800-705-1232. Again, call or text the word checklist to 1-800-705-1232. A checklist to maximize your retirement income.
Investment advisory services offered through JB Capital, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance products offered through JN Financial, LLC.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Let's get to it. Our guest on the program today is none other than Jennifer Sparks. I've only been talking about her all for the last 2 hours. She's on the program today. of the Sparks Report. Thank you, Jennifer. And I know it's our first time. We didn't even have a pre-interview, so we're going to wing it. We're flying by the seat of our pants today.
I love that, Reese. Thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. I love doing that. I used to do a lot of stuff with music and improv, and kind of going on the fly lets things be spoken and said, so it's good.
No doubt. So, Jennifer, you have your Substack article, which is the Sparks Report. You talk about pretty much anything and everything, but Connecticut is your home. And you were compelled to write this story about DQuat. What I found interesting in your article was you didn't play around with all of the nonsense and the back and forth, the political who's this and who's that stuff. You start your article off by telling everyone what DQuat is and what it does and how it is harmful. In particular, what I love this, you start off in one of the paragraphs by saying, harmful if swallowed or inhaled, causes skin irritation, causes moderate eye irritation, prolonged or frequently repeated skin contact may cause allergic reactions in some individuals. Do not get on skin or clothing. You just went in just with the hammer in all of this. Please, first, tell me how you heard about it. Was it on the Chris Webby post, or did you hear about it somewhere else? What was your first contact with this story?
Well, at first, I heard about it. I was really surprised because it came out of nowhere. And at first, there was one of my friends shared an article online that they were doing this. I didn't know it was Chris Webby at the time. Somebody was just copying and pasting it. And I'm very familiar with the DQuat cousin, which is glyphosate. They kind of go hand in hand. You're familiar with all the controversy about glyphosate and causing cancer and Monsanto and Bayer being sued and all that good stuff, right? So I've been interested in these chemicals for a little bit. So, Chris Webby did that video, and it's like, oh, my God. And so I'm the type of person that likes to go right to the source, because that's where you're going to find out the truth. And they're right on the product label are all these warnings about this substance that they want to use in the river. Now, years ago, we didn't have bald eagles. So now we're going to spray a chemical that's dangerous to the wildlife in the river, around the river, and including humans. And it makes no sense, especially coming from a party who prides itself or a government that prides itself on,
being eco-friendly.
Yeah, eco-friendly. Yeah. And it makes absolutely no sense. And now they're playing it off like this is nothing. And it's been happening. And, they started to play around this in Connecticut just recently after COVID in 2023. It started to come in. And now they're putting it in Roundup. You're going to find DQuat in Roundup now, too. So read your labels, folks.
Yeah, the interesting part about this, Jennifer, was I was looking at this, and I was talking to a guy who owns a landscaping company, my neighbor. And he talked about when they do very large jobs like acreage. And what this proposed plan is an acreage job. Like, it's a large job. This is not a 1 or 2 man team. We're talking about the Connecticut River. We're talking about lakes and streams all over the place, right? So we're looking at a massive operation. And
poison.
Yeah, exactly. And the crazy part about it is that even if the only people at risk are the individuals spraying it, we are talking about a massive group of people who run the risk of being affected by the use of this. Forget about the neighbors and people standing by. We looked this up. This is actually true. You should probably, for your next story, if you're interested, you should look this up because I couldn't believe it. Craig in the car, who listens to this program, sent me a picture of, is it Highland Lake? He sent me a picture. I'm trying to find my paperwork now. Here it is. I have to find it. It is, Highland Lake, where they did, Lake Hayward. I apologize. I'm all over the place. Lake Hayward.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Is this about the fish?
No. Lake Hayward did they sprayed a pesticide called Flumigard, which again is far less dangerous than DQuat. But here's where it draws a problem. In looking up Flumigard, what does it say? It says that it should not be inhaled, right, in any massive quantity, because it is harmful if you are to inhale it. Well, Craig contacted me and said the only reason why he knew it was in the water and it was sprayed was because as they drove by Lake Hayward, they could smell it. And what does it mean, Jennifer, if you can smell it? That means it's molecules.
You're breathing it.
Yeah, you're breathing it. That's the definition of smell, which you're not supposed to do. And everyone who was just walking in the park, maskless, walking their dogs by the lake, Craig asked all of them, hey, do you know what they sprayed in the water? Nope, don't know. No, nobody heard about it. Nobody was even alerted. And you had to walk over to the tree where they posted it and said, this has been sprayed with Flumigard and don't go in the water. No public notice at all. And everybody's running around breathing it. So this is...
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, so
Wow.
what we're recognizing here is a bunch of people getting indignant that we have the audacity to question the use of this stuff, even though they never made it known to anybody that they were going to do it. We had to find out from Chris Webby. We had to find out from other people who were now researching it. And now they're calling us a bunch of misinformation and disinformation purveyors or conveyors out into the public. And I'm going, dude, you wouldn't even, you're not even on the up and up with us about this. What else are we supposed to do other than seek out the information?
Absolutely. Well, it says it right on the product. I mean, you just go to the source. Always follow the money with this, which I haven't done a dive into who's special, this and that. Chris Webby did a great job with that. But our state is really bad because whoever's got, the grease for the palm and let's how we're going to do this, and they do stupid things because somebody's making money. That's always what it comes down to. Why would you spray poisonous chemicals into a lake? Why isn't the government telling us what they're actually doing? And then when you call them out, which we are supposed to do, that's what being a citizen is, right? Mm-hmm. Your civic duty is to call out your government when you say, hey, wait a minute, this is a toxic chemical. It says so right here on the label. They've banned it in Europe. And we're using it here in the United States. And there was a report I saw, I haven't confirmed this, it was a fisherman saying that the trout is different because they started spraying it in some places in Connecticut. I haven't verified this. I don't think the fisherman would be making up a story. It was going on, I saw that posted online, so I would have to double check that. Right. But for fishermen out there, are you noticing, because I want to ask people who fish, is there a problem lately with the trout in the last couple of years where they could possibly, they're starting to use it already in Connecticut. We just are finding out about the big spray that thankfully they're going to put off now to what, is it 2026? So we have to really keep an eye on that because we, like you were saying, and I really appreciate you having me on and talking about my Substack, a lot of the media in Connecticut is not talking about things people really need to hear about.
But I think there's a reason for that.
Thank you, Reese.
No, it's okay. I think there's a reason for that, Jennifer. And by the way, for those of you just joining us, we've got Jennifer Sparks from the Sparks Report on, and we're going to have her back as often as I could possibly have her, but I know she's busy. And
thank you.
You got it. The thing that I'm noticing about this, and I think that there is this effort, right? You don't really bring a lot of attention to a story like this for one reason. Because if you cover it too much, it becomes national. That's how stories work nowadays. Like you hear this story about, the David versus Goliath, right? You got the average citizen who's fighting against big bad government who wants to do something, and then other outlets like national news media, they get a hold of it. It ends up in the Washington Post. It ends up in the New York Times. However they spin it, it becomes a big story. I noticed something interesting in here, and I think only reason why I'm sharing this with you is not because I don't think that you caught on to it, but I don't think a lot of people have. And I said this yesterday. We had Representative Renee Muir on the program 2 days ago. Yeah. And she said that this hydrilla problem was dire, that if we don't do this so-called nuclear option, that it was going to choke off the waterways, it was going to affect property value, it was going to destroy the ecosystem in Connecticut. It is the most important thing that we could do, and it is in a situation that we have to do whatever's possible to save the waterways. And with that, I thought about this, Jennifer, and I said to myself, well, that's interesting, because if it's that big of a deal, why is the media so hush about it? If it's
That's
that,
great.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's a good question.
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Hydrilla
Absolutely.
is this dire problem that we have to spray a banned chemical in the water, and the media has done one or maybe two stories about it. It's not even on their radar.
Oh, it's just pretty. It was just like kind of the coverage of it was pathetic.
It is, and the coverage had more to do with Chris Webby than it did about the issue. Everything was about hydrilla. Everything was about nothing about DQuat. Not even talking about what one article talked about. I think the Stanford Advocate said, was it banned in Europe? They claimed that it was banned in Europe, and then they move on to why hydrilla must be removed. I'm like, that's not a story. Like, people are concerned about hydrilla, rightly so, but they're also concerned about the poison in which to get rid of it. Why isn't there a focus on it? No one wants to talk about that.
Exactly, and why is it was so like slippery too? You know, it's like boom, I'm like, oh great, because I'm in one of the areas. I'm right by the river. I'm in Portland, where you're planning on spraying it. You're in my town. And I'm just, God,
Let me throw you a loop.
You know?
Let me throw you a loop on this, Jennifer, because this is another angle you need to hear. And I've got that this morning in the Connecticut Insider, CT Insider. Please go check them out. Here's the
they're great. I like the CT Insider. They do great stuff.
Here is the headline. Governor Lamont vetoes bill that would give Connecticut towns the right to overturn environmental rulings.
Ooh. Oh, I got a whole lot of stuff I could talk about with that stuff. Oh, my gosh. We could get into the topic of, like, all kinds of stuff with that.
Like, now, when I read it, I went, whoa, are you kidding me? Listen to me. Here's the veto. The veto was a bill for small municipalities to have a stronger role in environmental decisions that may affect their communities, Lamont said. However, it's important to note that today's permitting process offers extensive opportunity for public engagement. I'm concerned that the mechanism proposed in the bill allowing a local referendum to reverse certain permit approvals or denials issued by DEEP could have unintended consequences. And guess what? Guess what the level they're considering a small town? 16,000 people or fewer.
Wow.
So here's a guy putting a veto on you being able to push back on DEEP if they make a decision about your town environmentally. I couldn't believe it.
That's really bad.
I'm like,
it's hard to keep up with all the bad in Connecticut. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so I figured I'd throw you for that loop. It's in the Connecticut Insider. Please read it. I couldn't believe it. So before
check that out.
Before I let you go, Jennifer, what else you got going on? Tell us a little bit about the Sparks report. What they can find it, because I know you're in all facets of entertainment as well. Tell a little bit about, for those who don't know.
Yes. So I cover a lot of Connecticut and also some national stuff. A lot about the pharmaceutical industry and the right to informed consent. Also stuff about, the COVID vaccine. I actually have a really good video with Senator Norm Needleman talking about the myocarditis risk and kind of being brushed off like that wasn't important. And now we know myocarditis is a big deal.
Yeah.
So things like that. And I'm covering a lot. This is really important that I think people there's a big battle. We've all been hearing about it. This is the affordable housing, the centralized, the work, live, ride bill with desegregate Connecticut.
Yeah.
So this bill that Lamont vetoed due to a lot of pressure, thank God, but they're coming back in for a special session with this. Now, if you drive around the state of Connecticut, I'm sure you're noticing, as a lot of people are, these massive buildings. And that ties in probably to why Lamont vetoed that bill, because you get into environmental and deep with some of these permits that are being issued for these massive buildings on like wetlands, in places where they shouldn't be, and overriding towns. So basically what the state wants to do, they've already started the mechanization to pass this stuff with the Zoning Enabling Act. I've written about that. That's in my Substack. I have a video with Senator Rojas, who is hoping to be the next Speaker of the House if the Speaker of the House, Matthew Ritter, Shipman and Goodwin, we can get into all of that too, because I write about that a lot as well. which is an arm of the state that is in your town, that represents the school, that represents the developer that's trying to develop these big buildings and school contracts. All of that stuff is like super connected. The housing is extremely important because the state is trying to usurp the local municipality, your local voice, the citizen, where you have the most ability to affect change, to stop bad things from happening, is in your local town council, your local board of selectmen. And they want to take that zoning right away. The Zoning Enabling Act is something that the state put through. They're modeling this after like Fair Share in New Jersey, who is totally just consumed with litigation because municipalities are forced to fight off this fair share quota that all the towns will be forced to have. So there's one town, Granbury, which is a great example of this, who's been in a dire straits battle over with this company called Vessel Technology. Crazy stuff.
Jennifer, I have to, unfortunately, I got a hard break I have to go to, but everyone, please go to the Sparks Report. Jen, we're going to have you back. I promise. I'm going to text you now my personal cell phone number so that you and I can keep in touch. And we're going to have you back as soon as possible so you can cover all of this local stuff because I love every bit of it. But we will have you back. You got it. Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Thanks so much.
You got it. All right, folks, let's get to our weather and traffic. Thank you guys for holding for me. Jason Katarina's got weather. Mark Christmas in the BPS Traffic Center.
All right, reset.
You're clear.
If you're heading into downtown Hartford right now on the southbound side of I-91, look for slow traffic from 33 down to 32 A and B, another bump down by exit 28. You're slowing again, approaching 19 down to 17 in Meriden. Northbound 91 is moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. If you're westbound 84, tied up 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush, 84 eastbound slowing, approaching 46 Sisson Avenue down to the Bulkley. 291, 384 looking good east of the river. 2 westbound slowing, 1D up to the 84 West merge in East Hartford. 9 northbound, your tight Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. Heading toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound sluggish, 17 to 18 westbound 84 sluggish from 23 up to the Mixmaster. If you're heading 84 eastbound in Danbury, delays 3 to 5. Again, slow traffic from 9 in Newtown up to exit 11 in Newtown. If you're traveling on the southbound side of the Parkway, you've got slow traffic 60 into the West Rock. Northbound Parkway slows 59 into the West Rock Tunnel, and 95 South New Haven tight 46 to 43 in West Haven. I'm Mark Christopher. Traffic and weather together on the 8s WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Katarina in the... For tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds will persist and it remains warm and humid. The low only down to 69. I'm meteorologist Jason Katarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Having options tastes better with McDonald's. Choose between a $5 hot and spicy McChicken meal deal with a $6 McDouble meal deal. Price and participation may vary.
And now, a WTIC news update.
79 degrees at 4:30. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. Upper 80s tomorrow. State police now say one trooper who was standing roadside this morning suffered serious injuries when he was struck by a car. Trooper Chris Genovese and partner Matt Siri were investigating a previous crash on 91 North in Enfield. Siri was inside a cruiser and Genovese was outside when an Acura driven by Joel Kaika of Waterbury hydroplaned, spun out, collided with the cruiser, which plowed into Genovese. Trooper Seri and the Acura driver suffered minor to moderate injuries. This is all according to state police just a few minutes ago. 91 North in Enfield reopened in the 2 o'clock hour with just the left lane closed after it was shut down for about 7 hours. Police said earlier the Genovese injuries are serious but not life-threatening. A prominent local lawyer says defense attorney Kevin Smith made the most of videotape in the teen party brawl in Shelton. Smith's client, Raul Valley, and the killing of Jimmy McGrath and the stabbing of 3 others. Valley was acquitted yesterday. Attorney Jim Bergen of Shipman and Goodwin was not involved in the case. He says the video was used by Smith to build an effective self-defense argument.
The defense lawyer really tracked the evidence. He let the evidence persuade rather than the lawyer. And that is the most important thing you can do. It seems like he really engaged the jury and he covered his most important points by making specific reference to videos that supported his points.
A mistrial was declared on reckless manslaughter and other charges on which the jury was deadlocked. In a settlement, DraftKings will return more than $3 million to 7,000 Connecticut users. Those consumers took part in bonus offers. The Department of Consumer Protection investigated DraftKings for violating state gaming laws related to marketing, saying gaming operators must clearly dictate the terms of any promotional offer to customers. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 192, S&P climbed 17, the NASDAQ was up 19 points. In sports, Red Sox and Rays on WTIC pregame at 6:10. Seattle at the Yankees tonight. Baltimore beat the Mets this afternoon 3-1. And the Wimbledon women's final is set. American Amanda Anisimova will play Iga Swiatek. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
How did you get your tripping breakers fixed so fast?
ALO Home Services. Same day electrical. I gave them a call and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628926, P102776688, S104062441, S3308699, SN3004646, E1185643.
If you've been injured in an accident, don't let the insurance company decide how much you're worth. At Carter Mario Law Firm, you're more than just a client and more than just a quick settlement. When you get Carter, we'll help you get more. More experience, more attention, and more accessibility. The Carter Mario Law Firm's zero-fee warranty means you pay nothing unless we win. Visit GetCarter.com or call 877-GET-CARTER.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
30 seconds.
Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I want to thank Jennifer Sparks for being on the program. I just sent her a text to tell her thank you. And, of course, as you would think, there's something, by the way, I'm finding out that's very interesting. So as you heard me talking about with Jennifer about that, gosh, now I can't find it anymore. I just had it. The lake that Craig sent me, he's on the phone now. I'll get to you in a second, Craig. We're going to go to a break, but I'm going to get to you right after it. Lake Hayward. So I'm looking at that, and I tried to contact the company that did the spraying at Lake Hayward of the Flumagard. And it's a company called Solitude, and they are out of Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Well, I get another text just now, and this one says, caution. Railroad Pond to be treated with pesticide on Friday, July 11th. Time to be treated between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Very similar to Lake Leland, between 9 and 5 for them, 8 and 5 for Railroad Pond. And they have a Connecticut deep permit. It says, do not use the water for the following until the date noted below. Do not use it for drinking and cooking until July 14th. Boating, fishing, or swimming, July 12th. Watering of livestock, July 12th. Irrigation, July 16th. Why is the irrigation always further? Again, and what are they spraying in the Railroad Pond? Dequat. But the interesting part is that, again, this company is called Water and Wetland. They are in Upton, Massachusetts. Both companies, two different spots. Massachusetts is their homeland. But you know what I'm not seeing on any of these notices? the Army Corps of Engineers. Why not? Why isn't the Army Corps of Engineers listed anywhere on this? I don't see it anywhere. I mean nowhere. They have a Connecticut deep permit, but the Army Corps of Engineers, who they told us are coordinating the DQuat spraying, nowhere to be found. Why? Are you getting any impressions that there are more questions than there are answers? Yeah. Absolutely. I wonder if the folks over by the railroad pond were even alerted to this happening. I guess they are. It's up against a tree. There's your alert. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Jason Caterina's got your weather, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. This traffic report being
You're clear.
by Amplify CT. And if you're making your way into downtown Hartford right now, we're seeing delays on the southbound side of I-91, 33 down to 32 A and B. Another bump down by exit 28, slowing again, approaching 19 down to 17 for the Wilbercross Parkway. Northbound 91 looks good. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up 56 Governor Street, East Hartford out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue to the Bulkley Bridge. 291 through 84 okay. 2 westbound slowing East Hartford. 1D up to the 84 West merge. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. Northbound Parkway, some slow traffic in Meriden in the construction area between 67 and 68 N and E. Heading toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound delays 17 up to 18. Westbound 84 tight in Cheshire approaching 26. Again, 23 up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. If you are traveling 84 eastbound Danbury, slowing 3 to 5. Again, delays from 9 in Newtown out to 11 in Newtown. If you're traveling into the New Haven area, southbound Parkway delays 61 down into the West Rock Tunnel. South 95 slows 46 down to 43 in West Haven. This summer, remember that getting outside to play reduces stress, boosts moods, and sharpens focus. Encourage your kids to press pause and go play to take care of mind and body. It works. Visit amplifyct.org for more ideas to amplify your mental health. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Watch for a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, it'll be cloudy, warm and humid, the low of 69. Quite warm and humid for us on Friday. Cloudy start, sun and clouds in the afternoon, with a thunderstorm in spots, the high of 87. Saturday, sun and clouds with a couple showers. Humid, the high of 87 again, and humid with more sun than clouds on Sunday with the high of 85. Right now, 79 Waterbury, 75 Mansfield, Hartford at 79. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
HartfordLatinoFest.com is celebrating its 10-year anniversary. Saturday, July 12th from noon until 7 at Duncan Park, downtown Hartford. This family event is free. You'll enjoy live Latin bands, local groups, Latin food, drinks, and much more. For info, call Luna at 860-983-5629 or go to HartfordLatinoFest.com. Latino Fest is proudly supported by Price Right, Hartford Yard Goats, attorney Michael Chambers Jr., Hartford's Town and Clerk's Office, Liberty Bank, Kia of East Hartford, Connecticut, Greater Hartford Regional School Choice Office, and WTIC News Talk 1080.
A successful retirement doesn't just happen. It requires a plan that is custom built to suit everyone's individual financial situation. Every Saturday at 3, we share vital information on how to build and live a successful retirement. It's On the Money with Jay Dorso. Retirement strategies on building income and proper protection from the pitfalls and the latest news in the retirement universe. On the Money with Jay Dorso, 3 p.m. this Saturday on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
1 minute.
I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
There we go.
800-408-4040.
WTIC News Talk 1080, because local has never been more important.
That it is. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Let me get right to the phones real quick. Craig in the car. What's going on, sir? I pretty much talked you up, didn't I?
I had to call. I had to call early. I got a tea time in 15 minutes.
Excuse me.
Hey, quick point of clarification.
Yeah.
On the Lake Hayward thing, it is not that the residents of the Lake Association didn't know it was happening, but when I drove around asking people what was sprayed, nobody knew.
Oh, no, that was what I meant. When I said when you people walking their dogs or walking around there, you ask them, it's like, hey, do you know what that is? And nobody seemed to know. So that
right. No, they knew the treatment was going to happen, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they actually vote on it as an association. What I found really concerning to me about it was I was talking to our select woman yesterday, and I asked her if she had signed off on it, and apparently it bypasses the town. So in other words, the Lake Association makes the decision what to do, and they work with DEEP directly.
Right.
The town was not involved whatsoever.
They don't have a vote.
Nobody outside of the Lake Association knew that was going to happen. And in my opinion, the entire town should have been notified of it. The Lake Association doesn't own the lake.
But that's the part I don't seem to
residents of the
understand.
town.
I don't understand that. Okay, the Lake Association, I mean, if you're lucky, sure, people live in that community. Hopefully they do. If they're a part of, the Lake Association, no, because they're spread out. It's everywhere. But my point is that...
Well, that Lake Association, you have to live directly on the lake to be part of it. I live half a mile away, and I'm not part of the association.
Okay. But if the Lake Association is making a decision with DEEP to spray an herbicide, help me understand why the Lake Association wouldn't ask the surrounding community.
I don't know. I knew nothing about it, and like I said, I live half a mile from there. On Friday or Saturday nights when they have their little concerts on the beach, I can hear it. I can tell you what song's being played. That's how close I am.
Well, the Railroad Pond, that's in Berlin, and the Berlin Town Hall, they have I guess there's a water control manager that's in the area. I'm not sure if they're associated with the pond, but again, this doesn't sound like this is thoughtful in the sense of let's let the community know what's going on outside of just posting a sign. Because again, if you live by it, you should know what you're inhaling. And as you described, again, a half a mile, you couldn't smell it from your home. You had to actually how close did you have to be before you smelled the herbicide in the pond or in the lake?
I was driving on the road that goes around the lake. That's how I get home.
Yeah, okay. So you're a couple of feet from it, but it was, from your description, it was considerable, the scent.
Considerable is an understatement. Yeah. To be honest with you, Reese, I'd rather eat the grass off my golf course than swim in that water today.
Wow. I'd love to know what the process is, and hopefully somebody can answer that. Because
I don't know. I didn't want to stalk the people at the lake too much. I'm just this weird guy driving around in a car asking questions. So I don't have news credentials.
But people should ask. Look, I don't want to disturb you in your tea time. Are you playing a foursome, a twosome? How many people you got in your squad today?
There's about 50 of us. It's a social league that we play every Thursday night.
50 of you. How are you guys going to pair up?
They pair you up.
Oh, is it a two?
They put you with different people every week. Yeah, the whole idea is to get to meet new people.
Oh, okay. Is it a 2-man squad or a 3-man? Like
4.
But 4. Okay, it's always a foursome. Okay, 50 guys.
Yeah, 4-man scramble.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
What do you hope? What are you hoping to shoot now?
I don't know. I'm just going to go hit them hard and often.
Enjoy, sir. Enjoy.
Ciao.
Much appreciated. Let's go to, I'm going to grab him real quick because he's calling. Peter's in Canton. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. What do you got?
It's about the Pequot or Pequot or whatever.
Oh, dequat, yes.
History on it. It's been around since the early mid-70s.
1950s, exactly.
In the mid-70s, I was 16. Everyone in town smoked pot. If you didn't smoke pot, you were weird. And it was dry in the year 78. There was no pot.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it was this Mexican pot that was coming around. Everyone had it. And it tasted weird.
What was the name of it?
And everyone was smoking it. And then we found out the fields were sprayed with peacock by the United States government sprayed the Mexican fields with the chemical to try to kill the pot.
Really?
True story.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to look up some background on that.
So like in the mid-77 or 78, it was a dry summer. There was no pot anywhere, and everyone was freaking out. And then all of a sudden there was, and it tasted weird. And then like 2 or 3 weeks into it, I think it was on the radio or the newspapers actually said, "Don't smoke the marijuana. It's been sprayed with that chemical." In the mid-70s.
That was, you know what? That would explain a lot in the 1970s. That's you put in a whole new perspective on the 70s.
When I heard that name, I said, "Oh my goodness, that's what." Back in the 70s, we had a summer where a lot of us were smoking it.
Well, you know what? Right now, you have a lot of internet sleuths who are now looking it up to make sure.
If anyone like my age, 66, 67, or 70, they're going to remember that in Connecticut because it was all you could get.
Yeah.
And we were like all freaking out. We couldn't get any pot.
Okay. You got it. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate you. Michael A., are you serious? Michael A. is in the chat room. He says, we called it bogus Mex. Is that right? Are you just pulling my leg? Matty O says, no wonder that lady was laughing. It's already happening. Yeah, you might be right about that. That's probably why she was laughing. She was like, yeah, you might try to stop it, but it's already happening. Maybe too far gone. I doubt that. I doubt anything is too far gone. I'm going to look up this thing. I'm going to look up that story and find out where it is. Let's take Mike real quick before we go to break. Hello, Mike.
Tell you what, man. First point, I'll make it quick. Mark Christopher belongs in the TIC Hall of Fame.
Yes,
no
he
doubt.
does.
His timely reporting, I'll tell you, and the former Roscoe P. Soul Train kept me entertained in the 90s on one of our local stations, FM.
No doubt. He is.
Now,
he is. I was going to say, he is an absolute treasure and a fixture here at WTIC, without a doubt.
He's a gentleman. Did I missed last Friday's show? Did your wife sing?
I'm not going to say chicken out. She opted out.
No, that's good. I can understand that. You know why she wouldn't want to.
Yeah, well, she didn't want to get it wrong. She didn't want to do it wrong. She didn't want to get it wrong.
Now, the guests you had on Monday, you know, they come waltzing in, you know, with their attitude, and they expect to be treated like royalty or be treated with kid gloves. And you know what?
Are you talking about the representative?
I'll fall all over them. And I knew her fangs were going to start to show once the interview started and progressed. She started getting defensive.
Well, can I read you a really mean letter that I got? I since you're bringing it up.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
I have to read it only because it was unsolicited, and
who was it from?
It was from a listener. I'm not going to give it their name. It was from a listener. Right. It says, I'm requesting that you listen to your interview with the Connecticut legislator on Tuesday with a calm and disconnected ear, similar to what your listeners do. You will hear someone who was both disrespectful and a bully. You wanted her to wait and listen to you when you spoke, but didn't give her the same courtesy. I was so embarrassed for you that I had to turn off your show and don't know that I will listen again. But worst of all, you were wrong. If you read this article, she then goes on to give me this article about, the invasive plant called Hydrilla, understandably was published after your show, you will find that you were stating what you claim were facts that were actually not. You mistake intelligent conversation with loud and rude. You owe your listeners and that legislators an apology, she wrote.
Hey, you know what? I wanted. Can I make one comment? I mean, that's a typical interview with a politician. I mean, they. Anyway.
What are you going to say? Hey, there's nothing. You know what? I can respond to that, but I'm going to let you go and then I'll respond.
You gave her plenty of time to respond.
Oh, indeed.
You did.
I did.
You did. Now, people, we're going to have to buckle up because, these attacks in Texas on the Border Patrol agents, this is, unfortunately, I got a gut feeling it's going to increase.
I don't think so.
Remember years ago
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. No, because again, remember, there is always what I call a ceiling on this behavior. What happens is because it's always funded by someone and they try to find out what the traction is, right? So it continues.
George,
remember, you notice the LA riots, no one's talking about them anymore because they're over. They didn't track well.
Yeah.
They didn't gain they gained no notoriety or any public support for it, so it ended. That's always the case. This stuff is done to see if it gets traction, that it's done. Whatever happened to the weekend protests that we used to get about Medicaid and about Doge and all that other stuff?
Yeah.
They all ended. Why? Because public interest waned.
You could have facsimiles of George Soros out there funding these groups with weapons. You know what they're going to do? They're going to give 2 of these kids immunity, and they're going to rat on the other 7 or 8.
You have 10 people. But see, Mike, you have 10 people right now charged with attempted murder. They have 10 people charged with attempted murder, with more to come.
2 of them will flip. Okay, they're going to find out where the weapons came from and who did the funding.
Exactly. And as Donald Trump said yesterday, he said, if you notice, a lot of the weapons that were recovered were very new, or as he called them, newer. They were newer weapons, which means that this was a coordinated effort that was plotted recently, which, again, we're going to find out. Somebody's going to have to rat somebody else out because they're going to. And
let me make a comment about
real quick.
Go ahead, finish.
No, I was just going to say they're going to get outed.
I'm telling you, you run a tight ship. You're the captain. You're well informed. I mean, right up to the second. And that's why I listen to your show.
Thank you, man.
And I have to thank you for giving me the time. I know I can be a little bit...
Mike, please don't...
I've been called a bully, but I'm really not.
Mike, listen to me. I understand you, and I understand this audience. That's why I love them. I love them because I understand them, and I understand them because I love them. So I'll always appreciate that. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Let me get to this letter, okay? The letter that the woman wrote, and let me explain it. This is... I know it's unorthodox, and I know that I get this a lot. Trust me, my avid listeners, even some of my good friends, will get on me, and they'll send me. So it's like, no, Reese, let her talk, blah, blah, blah. All right, I need to explain this. You're never probably going to be on the same page with me on this one, but I have to explain what I'm doing. Okay, first off, as a guest on this show, as a politician, I owe you nothing. As a guest on this show, if you're a politician, you owe me. You owe my audience. And you will never come on these airwaves and filibuster. You won't come in here and you will talk that cheap talk and talk that talking point nonsense. You won't get to just run roughshod over me. The rest of these bozos all over the country in this industry who are desperate to get you on the air and hear how embedded in the party politic you are all impressed by you and all tapping themselves on the shoulder, making sure that they know I interviewed this one and that one and this one. I don't care. You're never going to go on my resume. Ever going to go on my resume. Most of you didn't even know that I've interviewed the likes of Al Sharpton and Phil Donahue, that I've interviewed the likes of Russell Simmons, that I've interviewed people running for president. You don't even know I interviewed O.J. Simpson. You don't know because it isn't about them. It's about you. So when people come on these airwaves and they want to talk about what they believe or what they think, no, I want them to answer to you. I am the voice for you. So when you came here and you wanted to hear the politician talk the same nonsense they always talk from every other place you've heard from, this is the wrong place for them. I interrupt, I shout, and I will shout them down if I need to, especially if they're BSing us and you. That's the kind of show I run, and that's the kind of interview I do. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it goes. Now let's get another check of weather and traffic, uninterrupted, by Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. I'm gone, guys.
This is Roscoe P. Soul Train. Mike remembers. Here it goes. Which turned into
what
Hot 93 Selm.
Oh, no, Hot 93 Sim.
Sim. Hot 93, as Kid Fresh said, Hot 93 Selm. And of course, their studios are right on the other side of your glass. And when they switched over to hip hop, they asked Roscoe P. Soul Train to leave. And our former afternoon host here, Colin McEnroe, unfortunately saw Roscoe P. Soul Train drinking heavily behind the dumpster in the parking lot after he was let go. So sad story, but true. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound on
you're clear.
You got delays 33 down to 32 A and B, again slowing down by exit 28. If you are traveling 91 southbound in Meriden, a little slow, 19 down to 17. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up, 56 Governor Street out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound's a little slow, 46 Sisson Avenue into the downtown tunnel. 291 through 84 okay. 2 eastbound moving well into Glastonbury. 9 southbound a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. Look out for an accident on the left shoulder. Southbound on 9 as you move 35 down to 33 New Britain into Berlin. Westbound side of 84 slowing 26 to 25 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound, Waterbury's tight 17 to 18. And again, slowing in Cheshire, 26 down to the 691 interchange. Southbound on the Parkway slows from 60 into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 South New Haven's tight 46 to 43. And 91 southbound delays 7 in New Haven down in toward the 95 interchange. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds will persist and it remains warm and humid. The low only down to 69. Quite warm and humid for us on Friday. A cloudy start, then a blend of sun and clouds in the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots. The high up to 87. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
79 and cloudy at 5 o'clock. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. State police now say one trooper who was standing roadside suffered serious injuries this morning. He was struck by a parked cruiser in a chain reaction crash. Troopers Chris Genovese and Matt Seri were investigating a previous collision on 91 North in Enfield. That's when an Acura driven by Joel Kaika of Waterbury hydroplaned, spun out, and collided with the cruiser carrying Trooper Seri, which plowed into Trooper Genovese. Seri and 3 people in the Acura suffered minor to moderate injuries. The injuries to Genovese are described as serious but not life-threatening. 91 North in Enfield was shut down for hours. The Connecticut Hospital Association now sounding alarms about the budget bill signed by President Trump last week. CHA Senior Vice President Paul Kidwell says the bill will bump Connecticut residents off Medicaid. Then they'll show up at hospitals sick, uninsured, and often unable to pay.
And what we know about individuals who lack insurance is that they tend to wait longer and longer and longer periods of time before they come and seek care. And in every hospital in Connecticut, if you come, we're gonna provide you with care. And what we are going to find likely is that those individuals are going to come sicker than they otherwise would have been if they had insurance.
Kidwell says the bill ultimately means higher costs for patients with insurance as hospitals try to stay in business. A federal judge is pausing President Trump's executive order attempting to override the Constitution to end birthright citizenship. The judge is certifying a class action lawsuit. It includes all children who would be affected. CBS News legal analyst Lori Levinson.
For now, we have a federal judge saying that it would impose irreparable harm because American citizenship is the greatest privilege that exists in the world, and that the court does have the power, even under the recent Supreme Court ruling, to apply that to a class action lawsuit.
The new decision puts the issue on a fast track to return to the Supreme Court. State Attorney General William Tong says there's a $720 million multi-state settlement with 8 opioid producers. Tong says the companies callously profited off rampant overprescription and abuse of the painkillers. Tong says Connecticut's share of the settlement will be used for treatment and prevention.
Without an aggressive opioid litigation team, without an aggressive law enforcement effort by us and our sister states on a bipartisan basis, we don't get this money. And it doesn't go to treatment prevention and addiction science if we don't get it.
A leader on Wall Street thinks there's a good chance interest rates will rise.
JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon told a conference on U.S.-Irish trade relations that he would price in a 40 to 50% chance of higher interest rates in the U.S., and that, in his view, tariffs are inflationary. Dimon said tariff effects won't come all at once, and at the moment, real data on the U.S. economy is impossible to read. Wall Street is pricing in 2 quarter-point rate cuts from the Fed by the end of this year, while expecting the central bank to maintain its pause at its meeting later this month.
CBS's Jason Brooks. On Wall Street, the Dow was up 192, S&P climbed 17 points, the NASDAQ was up 19 points. Red Sox host Tampa Bay on WTIC pregame at 6:10. Seattle at the Yankees. Baltimore beat the Mets 3-1. The Yard Goats in Portland. And American Amanda Anisimova will play for the championship at Wimbledon. She upset top seed Arina Sabalenka in 3 sets. Iga Swiatek will be her championship opponent. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Maker. WTIC 1080 News.
A Yellow Home Services believes when you support your neighbors, the local community gets stronger. That's why we've partnered with Food Share for the last 15 years, donating over 20,000 pounds of food and more than 1,000 turkeys. When you call a Yellow, you're helping those in need as well. Help make a difference when you call, click, or text today and say hello, a Yellow. Call for details. Licensed for safety. HIC 628926, P102776688, S104062441, S3308699, SM3004646. E1185643.
We were using a managed service provider, MSP.
That's Pete Sweeney.
30 seconds.
United Tool and Die Company in West Hartford. His computer services MSP became so costly, there was nothing left for needed system upgrades. He called Tab Computer Systems.
What they included in their monthly cost per user, the services that they offered were right where we needed it to be.
Call Tab, an ASP, actual service provider, 1-888-TAB-4 HELP, or visit Tab.
There we go.
Technologies advancing business. Tab Computer Systems.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's time for Hollywood News with your intrepid reporter, Reese on the Radio on WTIC. Yes, it's something I always wanted to do. We were talking about Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight, which I always said to her, she was prettier than the celebrities she interviewed. I always thought she was gorgeous. I saw a video of James Gandolfini being interviewed by her at a movie premiere, and he talked about how he had a crush on her. She was completely flattered. Anyway, in movie news today, there's a new film called Sovereign. Have you heard about it? Please go check out the trailer. You can find it on YouTube. Apparently, Sovereign has been inspired by true events. It is what they call a tense and provocative true crime thriller about a father and his teenage son, Jerry and Joseph Kane. Nick Offerman from Parks and Recreation and Jacob Tremblay, I'm not sure what that kid's ever done, who followed the sovereign citizen belief system, a deeply anti-establishment worldview rooted in distrust of government authority. As the pair travel across the country delivering self-taught legal seminars and pushing back against systems they believe had failed them. Their journey brings them into conflict with police chief Jim Bouchard, played by Dennis Quaid, setting off a tragic chain of events that forces a reckoning with power, principle, and the limits of freedom. It's called Sovereign. I saw the trailer of it, and let me tell you something. This whole trailer is a direct attack, if not slap in the face, of MAGA. That's exactly, and it almost, what's crazy about it, you have to see the trailer. They make Nick Offerman look like a borderline neo-Nazi. It's an incredible movie. But I saw it on Drudge Report, and I went to go look at it. I watched the trailer before the show, and I said, oh, I've got to talk about this today. So check out the trailer. Give me your opinion of it. Go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. It's called Sovereign, starring Nick Offerman. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher, who's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Thank you. And if
you're clear
right now, southbound 91 delays approaching 33 down to 32 A and B. And
Nick Offerman, also an amazing woodworker.
He is. Have you seen his videos?
Yeah.
91 southbound in New Haven, just prior to the 95 interchange. It's sitting in the left lane, so you've got delays back to exit 7 behind that. If you're on the northbound side of 91, easy ride Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing 56 Governor Street out to 47 Sigourney. Eastbound side of 84 slows 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 through 84 okay. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 southbound slowing Cromwell Middletown line down to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound Waterbury delays 17 to 18. Again, you'll see some more slow traffic 25A in Waterbury down to the 691 interchange. Westbound 84 slow traffic 26 to 25 and again 22 to the Mixmaster. If you are heading into New Haven, southbound Parkway delays 61 into the West Rock. South 95 is slowing in New Haven 46 down to exit 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
All right, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds linger. It remains warm and humid. The low down to 69. Quite warm and humid on Friday. Blend of sun and clouds for the afternoon with a thunderstorm in spots. The high 87. Saturday, mix of clouds and sun, couple of showers. Still quite warm and humid. The high of 87. And Sunday, again, warm and humid. More sun than clouds. The high of 85. Right now, it's 79 Waterbury, 76 Mansfield, 79 Bristol and Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Never liked braces? Invisalign is an alternative that may be right for you. It's removable, more comfortable, and reduces the risk of developing cavities and gum disease. Get your dream smile discreetly and easily. Call Columbia Dental at 860-645-0111.
Erectile dysfunction affects nearly 50% of men over age 50. But even with so many men affected, finding a trusted provider to treat the condition isn't so simple. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice, and I'm excited to announce the opening of our newest location of Northeast Men's Health in Warwick, Rhode Island. As a Promenic affiliate, Northeast Men's Health can offer men with ED the latest treatment protocols, which are shown in medical studies to be effective in well over 90% of men. And unlike groups that only offer wave therapy or online pharmacies that just sell pills, we offer a variety of treatments to help get you the results you want. You should also know that Northeast Men's Health is a true medical practice, which means our providers have access to a complete range of treatment options to get you back on track. So call Northeast Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal.
There we go.
leaffilter.com/deal.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
I was supposed to get rid of that. Forgive me. It came out anyway. It shows you exactly what's wrong with me. I get caught up in something else and somebody sends me a text and I get distracted, and that's where my problem is. Anyway, it's okay. I'm back. Reese On The Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I'll get to the news in a second, but I got to do this real quick.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Stupidest thing I read today. Here's the quote. It's either $20 million or an apology. Pro-Hamas activist Mahmoud Khalil files a $20 million lawsuit against the Trump administration. Yeah, he said he's demanding an apology from the Trump administration, or he's demanding $20 million. Anybody think, how do you think this is going to end? Anybody? How do you think this ends? They're going to court. If it's not thrown out, well, they're going to court or an apology. Let's get back to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. What's up, Corey? How are you?
What is going on, brother?
What's up?
Today is just a crazy day. Shout out to Marky P, man.
No doubt. What's up?
Oh, Jesus. Hey, do you see the Twitter feed on Rosa DeLauro's Twitter today?
No. What is she? No, that's okay. That's what I call it. I still call it Twitter. Rosa DeLauro.
You gotta go and read the comments, because I thought of you as soon as the comment dropped about Chris Murphy. She apparently had a statement today about the VA and all the people they're about to lose.
Okay.
Right. And if you go and read the comments, apparently somebody asked her and Chris Murphy and Danang Dick to literally go down and say, if you think that the VA is all what it's cracked out to be in New Haven, let's go downstairs and we'll go down into New Haven and we'll go down on the streets undercover. You got to read the comments. It's priceless.
Okay, I will definitely check it out. I don't think she's ever going to respond to those things, but you know how these guys are. Just to throw a stone and hide your hand party. That's who they are.
He's willing to walk across the state. I think he would be able to go and do an awesome Netflix documentary as to in his own state that the VA facility is a drug factory.
Damn.
And let's go see why New Haven screwed up and all Bridgeport and all the reasons around it. I mean, it was an awesome proposal, but they haven't responded to it. But I think you should go and look at it.
I'm going to go. I got her page up now, and I'm definitely going to go to it. It looks like there are two of them. I just have to make sure I'm on the right one. But
yeah. You got to go to her official account.
I'll go to her official account.
Shout out, brother. Awesome show today.
Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Let's go to Dave in Brantford. Hello, sir.
Yeah, Reese, I would like to talk about the Mexican paraquat that fellow was talking about.
Okay,
73.
Is there any truth to this?
Well, I did no research, but I was there, and so this is off of memory, and I have a pretty good one. So around about 77, 78, during Carter, we wanted to interdict the marijuana pipeline to America, and so we started using the helicopter herbicide sprayers that were 10 years ago in Vietnam, spraying 2,4-D, the Agent Orange formulations.
Gotcha.
And we thought we came up with a safer, better weed killer, which was paraquat. And I want to emphasize para with a P, a chlorine-containing herbicide, not the diquat that you guys are talking about of late, which is a bromine and nitrogen-containing herbicide, significantly different. So anyway, they sprayed the paraquat in Mexico with the permission of the Mexican government. This was thought to be a good idea. Now, the law of unintended consequences.
Yeah.
The drug dealers realized if you harvested it out of the field within about 3 days, it didn't get brown and die. You could dry it in the drying houses and actually sell it. Wow. And so this had the unintended consequence of exposing the people that cut it down to a fresh batch of poisonous herbicide. It ended up entering the market in advance of when it would have anyway. It came to America and poisoned us. And I was there. I was out of college by that
What
time.
was the result of the usage of this paraquat laced marijuana?
Well, they said it was a strong lung irritant. The usual stuff about decreased sperm motility.
Wow.
Mainly, it was a lung irritant. It could cause, obstructive breathing disorder, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the third unintended consequence is it seeded the domestic marijuana industry in California, Kentucky, Arkansas, because people became afraid of the Mexican product.
Gotcha.
And so the U.S. government was not willing to spray poison on our own people. And so it really was the initial formation of domestic marijuana, which at that time, believe me, I was there, the consumers would thumb their nose at the domestic product, which was considered junk.
Right.
Nobody wanted
What did they
that
call it?
stuff.
I think it was dirt. Was it dirt weed? Was that what it was referred to?
That I think maybe Kentucky dirt. Or
Yeah,
something
Kentucky
like that.
dirt
Sounds
weed.
familiar.
Yes.
At the end of my call, I want to mention William Tong is bragging about the opioid settlement and the money's coming to Connecticut.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
we're squeezing blood money out of these. You know what? The government is the worst at squeezing blood money out of these people that poison. Whether it's the tobacco settlement with Dick Blumenthal 30 years ago, and all that money was going to go to saving the health of tobacco people. And it turned out with all that money that came to Connecticut, we were one of the worst. Like 1 or 2% of the money that came to Connecticut actually went to anti-smoking and health health savior effects. And we're going to do the same thing under William Tong, who is squeezing blood money out of the opioid producers, and the Connecticut politicians are just going to pocket it and get themselves elected with it. He is the worst of drinking the blood money.
Yeah.
I'm all done.
Thank you, sir. You're 100%
Bye.
right about that, my friend. Couldn't get more crazier than that. Sean's in Meriden. How are you, sir?
Good. Quick thing. Number one, I don't know if you heard about it, but because Brennan went on TV regarding saying that there was nothing going on here.
I'm sorry, who went on TV?
Brennan.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But because he went on TV the other day and said that there was nothing going on, he extended the life of the statute of limitation by 5 years on all those things that happened then. And from the Geneva down in the lawyer down in D.C. and the other gentleman who show up on Newsmax, is that because he did that, he extended the ability for the government to go after anybody who was involved with that 5 more years. In other words, to get justice.
Yes,
So I
and
thought
he's
cool.
extended the statute of limitations. Of course, Sean is talking about former CIA Director John Brennan, who was on Nicole Wallace's show on MSNBC, saying he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know exactly what this leak about his investigation is. So, yeah, we're keeping a close eye on that. A lot of people are saying that this is a red herring just to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein thing. I'm going to talk about that in the next half hour. Thank you, Sean. Let's go to James, who's in Durham. Hello, sir.
Hey, hello, Reese.
What's up?
Listen, going back to the attack on the ICE facility down in Texas.
Yes.
And the 10 people that have been arrested.
11 now.
What they've been found within their possession, the military style and tactical style clothing.
Yes.
The weapons, and some of those weapons were the dreaded AR-15 type style weapons that us law-abiding citizens are not allowed or should not be allowed to have, because those are scary. They're assault weapons. They're for military only,
right,
and everything. So now what I want to ask you, being that you are the president of the idiot known as Murphy fan club,
yes,
has there been a statement out of that moron's office about these people and the weapons that they had on them?
Let me help you. In answering your question, it goes a little something like this. And you won't. And you won't. You won't hear a word.
Absolutely. That's, and I just wanted to put that out there for all you people that support and make excuses for that idiot, especially, and I'm speaking especially to another idiot who lives in Hamden.
Oh, come on.
I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say.
I know. I know. I get where
You know
you're
what I'm
coming from.
saying, okay?
I know
I'm
exactly.
not going to go any further.
You got it, James.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Much appreciated. They are cold out here. Woo! Chilly. I can't. I'm sorry. Now he's gonna call up. He's gonna be mad. He's got to defend himself. I have to go through that again. Let's go to Fred in Middletown. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. I remember at least a few people dying, heavy pot smokers from the paraquat pot. But I'm calling on the Karen line for this.
Okay.
So when you were talking to Mark, at a certain point, you said, he laid down his material, and you said, and you take that personally. And he was like stumped. But that would be like, or so what? That would be like he lays out his material and you say, and you drink too much. Like what does that have to do with the material?
No. What I'm
It's
saying,
just
what he takes personally, and this is what I meant about him. And again, this is not a slight to him. What he takes personally is that he puts all of this effort into work and like doing the legwork for them. He doesn't ask for any payment. He just wants action. And he kind of feels dismissed by the powers that, by these elected officials when he gives this to them. And I can get why that upsets him and he feels slighted by that. Of course, what like, I'm not doing this for my own. Well, I am doing it for my own good, but I'm doing it for my constituents. And he's doing it free of charge, and he's doing it as a labor of love to get something done. But when you get shunned by those people who are in charge to do those things, you can take it personally.
Well, right, but I would take you to task on that. In other words, he's simply pointing out that he gave them the information and they had nothing to say about it. Mm-hmm. He's not like really calling for, he's just then pointing out that he did the work and nothing.
Right. If that were, but Fred, if that were it alone, right, I would have no argument with that. So I put it to you this way. This is the way that I view Mark. Maybe he'll view it differently. Mm-hmm. Maybe you will. But I view Mark in this argument that says, okay, so I gave you some information and I've done it several times and you guys have ignored me or you won't take what I'm giving you seriously. Then that becomes a concerted effort that everything that they do must be bashed, maligned, and destroyed. And saying, they just jumping on back. It's not compartmentalized.
Well, let me jump to my closing point. So his knock on Sampson and the rest of these guys, he says they're all lawyers. And the reason why they're politicians is for the Cadillac health care, which they got plenty of dough, but they couldn't afford that, And
right.
So now they're in there and they're Republicans. And so they yell at the Democrats. They nip at their ankles as might chihuahuas. That's
He's right.
his other thing. Yeah.
But
right,
I want to
I'll
get
close
them,
with that.
and the thing that I want to do with them, Fred, is that I do want them to be mobilized and motivated, because what I truly do believe about the Republican Party in Connecticut is that we've tried so many things and we don't get any traction. And I am trying to tell people that's not a reason to give up. You just need to try something new.
Option.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's why Mark's part of this fold. I appreciate you, Fred. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You got it. Yeah, I'm not of this ilk that says, we throw the baby out with the bathwater. I know Mark, not that Mark is that way either. I don't think anybody is that way. I think frustration builds so much that you get to a point where screw them all. And I get that. But I'm not that guy. This is going to sound, what the hell? I'm an honest guy. If you can't be used, you're useless. And elected officials are in a position where they are to be used. They are your public servants. They are used to fulfill your needs, if anything, right? The objective is for them to get out of your way. When you send them off to City Hall or when you send them to Washington, their job is to not inject more government into your life, is keep these sons of a brain surgeons off my back. I want to be a free person. I send them to Washington to make sure that my taxes are lower, so that I can afford the things that I need, so I can do the things that I need, so I can go on vacation, so I can pay for college for my children. Perhaps I can buy things for my grandchildren, leave my children something when I move on. That's what they're supposed to do. Can you get the government out of my way? Now, there are some people in Connecticut who wish to send people to Washington to invade their lives. Can you get me more Medicare? Can you get me more free stuff? I'm not of that ilk. And I don't want to root for those guys. I want to root for the guys that are getting government out of my way. They don't do it perfectly because no one is. But when they are on the right track, we assist them. That's all I'm saying. When they're on the right track, when they're on the right path, on the righteous path, assist them. You can be mad at them about the other stuff too. I think they can take that. You can say, hey, attaboy, good job on this one. I'm still ticked off about that other thing, but good job on this one. You have to. Tell me I'm being irrational here. I can do that. Why can't anybody else? Yeah, you remember that last thing you screwed up on? Okay, yeah, we still got to deal with that. But this thing, good boy. Good girl, whatever. Whatever you got to say. I've said too much. We got to take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. Let's get weather and traffic at the bottom of the news hour with Dave Mager, who's in for John Silver. Jason Catarina's got weather, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much.
You're clear.
On the northbound side of I-91, that's a good ride, Cromwell up into Hartford. Looks like we have an accident now right at exit 32 A and B on the left side of the split, the right lane of the left side of the split, if that makes any sense. We've got an issue there. I see a couple of vehicles and state police and a couple of fire trucks behind that, so just use caution going through there. Now, if you are traveling north of that, a little slow, 35 to 36 in Windsor. Southbound 91 delays approaching 33 down to 32 A and B. Westbound 84 tied up 56 Governor Street out to 46 Sisson Avenue. 84 eastbound locked up about just after 44 Prospect Oakwood down to the Bulkley Bridge. 2 westbound slows, 1D up to the 84 West merge. 291 through 84 moving well. 9 southbound slowing just after exit 27 in Cromwell down, sluggish down to the Aragoni Bridge. If you're traveling 9 northbound, that's slowing, getting by 32 in Berlin. 84 eastbound in Waterbury's tight 17 to 18. Westbound 84 slows 23 in Waterbury up to the Mixmaster. Heading into New Haven, southbound Parkway delays 61 into the West Rock Tunnel. Northbound Parkway slows 59 into the tunnel. We have an accident 91 southbound between 2 and 1 in New Haven. Left lane block involving a truck there. Delays are back to 8 behind that. 95 South New Haven tight 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds will persist and it remains warm and humid. The low only down to 69. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
79 degrees at 5:30. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. A federal judge in New Hampshire is pausing a White House executive order which tries to override the Constitution to end birthright citizenship for some newborns.
Judge Joseph LaPlante certified a class action lawsuit seeking to block the executive order that would restrict birthright citizenship for children born to undocumented parents. Judge LaPlante said his decision was not a close call and added the deprivation of U.S. citizenship and an abrupt change of policy would cause irreparable harm.
CBS's Erica Brown at the White House. State police now say one trooper standing roadside suffered serious injuries this morning. He was struck by a parked cruiser in a chain reaction crash. Troopers Chris Genovese and Matt Seri were investigating a previous collision on 91 North in Enfield. An Acura driven by Joel Kaika of Waterbury hydroplane spun out and collided with the cruiser carrying Trooper Seri, which plowed into Trooper Genovese. Seri and 3 people in the Acura suffered minor to moderate injuries. The injuries to Genovese described as serious but not life-threatening. 91 North in Enfield was shut down for hours. State Attorney General William Tong says there's a $720 million multi-state settlement with 8 opioid producers. Tong says the companies profited off rampant overprescription and abuse of the painkillers. Connecticut's share of the settlement will be used for treatment and prevention.
We went and fought for this. This is not money that the state necessarily, when you turn on the lights in the morning, is entitled to. You have to go get it. And Connecticut has led in a very significant way on all of this work.
Connecticut gets about $8.5 million from the settlement. Ford is recalling more than 850,000 cars across the U.S. The low-pressure fuel pump inside the vehicles may fail, potentially causing an engine stall. The recall covers a wide range of Ford and Lincoln branded vehicles made in recent model years. On Wall Street, the Dow was up 192, S&P climbed 17, the Nasdaq was plus 19. In sports, the Red Sox host Tampa Bay on WTIC pregame after the news at the top of the hour. Seattle at the Yankees. Baltimore beat the Mets 3-1. Wimbledon Women's Championship Saturday is set. It's American Amanda Anisimova against Iga Swiatek. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Join us this Sunday for Tumalo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father-son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumalo Financial, retirement planning with integrity on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for
30 seconds.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.
There we go.
/radio.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. We'll get to the rest of your phone calls before we wrap this puppy up. Tomorrow, you know what time it is.
Yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night.
That's right. Roseanne on the Radio will be joining us for Ladies' Night on Friday. We will talk to her about a whole bunch of stuff that's happening in her world. And just in the world in general, we'll get some perspective from a lady, which we rarely do here. A lot of guys call up and talk. We get some ladies now and again, but the objective is to get the women's perspective on everything from pop culture and politics on the Reese on the Radio. And so talking to my wife and getting her perspective can be interesting. She doesn't always agree with Reese on the Radio. It can be a problem sometimes. Not a big problem, but enough of a problem, as usual. Also, can I play this? Do I have time? I think I can play this. Bill O'Reilly was on Chris Cuomo's show on News Nation. I think he's a regular spot there on News Nation, talking about this whole thing with the Epstein files. This is what he said when Bill O'Reilly, spoke to Donald Trump on St. Patrick's Day.
I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye, on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they may be.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I know what you're saying out there. Some of you might be going, yeah, that makes sense. But there's a lot of you out there that are going, nah, no dice. No dice. And I get that. I totally do. This is not going away. But this idea that it's going to destroy MAGA. Shut up. This could be the thing that's going to destroy MAGA. This Jeffrey Epstein thing, it's going to destroy it all. Shut up. Calm down. What's the thing that they make them take? But back in the days, we used to say take a volume. What's the new one now? Is it a Xanax? What's the thing? I don't even know which one it is. They're always telling them to take something to calm down. Just take a beat. It's annoying. It's probably frustrating, but calm down. Just calm down. I think the reason why people are so upset is because they were really staking their careers on what they were going to find out. We're going to expose. Chill out. Let's get our final check for the show. Weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're heading in, we do have an accident northbound 91 downtown by 32A and B. It's on the left side of the split, and you're going to see some slow traffic as you move up on that. Just use caution going through there. If you're traveling now on the southbound side of 91, look for a little slow traffic, 33 down to 32A and B. Westbound 84 is tied up 56 Governor Street out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound locked up 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. If you are heading 291 through 84, that looks good east of the river. Although we did get one report of a rollover accident. It looks like it's slowing there a little bit. 84 eastbound looks in Manchester, 384 eastbound just after exit 4. So look out for a lane to be blocked there. It was reported as a rollover. 2 westbound slowing 1D up to the 84 west merge.
Oh, this sucks. I got to be back here in 10 hours.
In the Middletown.
What's that?
9 in southbound.
This sucks. I got to be back here in 10 hours.
You're running slow.
That's right, the morning
up to the
show,
Mixmaster, 84.
Yeah, we're on the road tomorrow.
18.
Oh, that's right.
91 southbound delays.
I'm just excited. The place has buckets of coffee, so I'll be consuming a few of those.
An accident
Hey,
reported
what is this
involving
fair that Stephanie
a
was
truck
talking
between
about?
Exit 2 and 1.
That
The
like
left
this
lane's
big
blocked there.
event,
Once again, delays back to
carnival,
exit
something
7
like that?
Behind that. Southbound Parkway.
I have no idea. The only thing I know, we have the Latin Fest coming up.
That one I know,
into
right?
the
Yeah,
West Rock
that's
Tunnel.
like on the 16th,
Traffic and weather
right?
together on the 8th WT.
I think so.
Yeah.
1080.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition, available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
WTIC weather.
All right, for tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening. Otherwise, the low clouds will persist and it remains warm and humid. The low down to 69. Quite warm and humid after a cloudy start Friday. We'll get a blend of sun and clouds for the afternoon, but a thunderstorm in spots again, the high of 87. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sun, couple of showers, still very humid, the high of 87 again. On Sunday, humid, more sun than clouds, the high of 85. Right now, it's 79 in New Haven, 75 Bridgeport, 81 in Meriden, also 81 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy. And from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs.
Jake Tapper, a number of
options
times.
up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Tune in to WTIC News Talk 1080 for Healthy Rounds, Saturday mornings 11 till noon. Learn from the top experts about the latest medical news and call in with your questions. Healthy Rounds, sponsored by Hartford Healthcare, Saturday mornings 11 till noon on WTIC News Talk 1080 and WTIC.com.
Have bad teeth that need to be replaced? Don't like removable dentures? Worry no more. Come on down to Columbia Implant Center in Manchester any day of the week and ask for the all-on-4 procedure. Call us at 860-643-1898.
Got yourself a smart speaker?
Alexa,
It's your new radio.
play WTIC.
Here we go.
1080.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on Alexa.
Oh, that was it? It's Reese On The Radio. NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. We're almost out of here. Let's go to Tom and Thomaston real quick. What's going on, big guy?
Hey, oh man, I got 3 points. I'll make them quick.
You got it.
I listen to Bill O'Reilly every day, along with you and Tom Shattuck. He did say, he went on to explain that he did say they got to give information.
Right.
He didn't want fair guys to get hurt, but he says it's wrong of Patel and not to give out more information on the Epstein stuff. Okay, so both Mark and Sampson got to get over themselves, drop their ego. If they're out for the state of Connecticut conservative people and not out for themselves, they got to get over each other's differences and work together.
Agreed.
They have to.
Agreed, especially if there is power in that alliance. You know what I mean?
There definitely could be, but right now it's, rightfully so. Mark mad at them because they really don't do too much. But all he does, he's a mad dog at these guys. So they don't like him, and he don't like them, and then nothing gets done. So anyway, the third thing, real quick, I've been in the pain management program with the VA for over 20 years. I get hydrocodone, generic Vicodin, every month for 20 years. I have never once, OD'd or,
You've never abused.
Yeah, I've done it fairly and correctly. Right now, my right shoulder is killing me, Reese. I got to go home and put a lidocaine patch on it and take a hydrocodone.
Is there a surgery that would alleviate that, or is it just not cost effective?
I talked to my arthritis. It's not that bad yet. So I get shots in my thumb, and the next time I'm in 2 weeks, I'm going to get a shot in my shoulder. It's lidocaine, cortisone, and like gel. They pump it up with some gel.
Right.
Anyway, that's for the joint. Yeah. So.
But you were talking about pain. You were talking about pain retainment or dealing with pain.
Yeah, dealing with pain and just doing it correctly.
Yeah.
So So I think the pain providers get a bad rep sometimes. Now maybe that one company overdid what they should have done, but if used correctly, it could be very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of, and it's sort of you're never ever supposed to tell the truth about this, is that there is one thing about overprescribing, but there is that thing about overusage. Both parties, in a lot of ways, play a role in that usage. If you know you have a problem with the use of prescription drugs, you got to get help. It's just like anything else. It's any other addiction.
Reese, I blame the doctors the most. There was a bunch of them in, I don't know, Kentucky or Tennessee or something that prescribed like 60 or 70% of the whole country's worth of prescriptions for a while.
Oh, yeah, it was
nothing but pill houses.
Pill mills, yeah, pill mills. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, again,
so I blame the doctors the most.
Every ability to, and I think in a lot of cases there was this give and take with how much money they can make off this stuff. And look, and I would even equate it to this, Tom. I think a perfect example would be what happened when there were clinics or what do you call it, hospitals that were in the red and could not make any ends meet, and then somebody introduced to them the gender-affirming care surgery that they could do at $5,000 a pop out of pocket. What do you think those folks did? They abused that, you know?
That's the same thing. Reese, a quick side note, I'm in the janitorial business.
Okay.
They can't do it anymore because they stopped the law, but in the 80s and 90s, you should have seen the stuff that these salesmen would. They'd give them like $300 clocks and marble and this leather cases, the $200 pen and pencil set. I mean, they just
payola, man.
Stuff like crazy.
Yeah, that's the deal. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, buddy. We'll check you tomorrow. My good friend Matty O is in Bristol. What's up, buddy?
Hey, bud, let me take you off speaker here.
Okay.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Perfect. Let me just call about the guy with the painkillers.
Okay.
I was in a similar situation where I was on painkillers from doctors from a really bad accident.
Okay.
And the one thing I'll tell people, unless it's a pain like cancer or something that's terminal, do not get started with that crap, because what ends up happening is when you're on those painkillers, you think the pain is worse than it actually is. You never know when the pain's actually going away, because the withdrawals from the drug amplify the pain to the point where you don't know the difference between withdrawals and the actual pain from the original injury.
Wow.
And it is a horrible cycle to get into. So if you're not in like terminal condition, I'd say do not start with it. Take ibuprofen and suck it up.
You know what? You are very much like me in this space, because I am deathly afraid of medication, because I know my body is incredibly susceptible to it. And I jokingly say, if you had a drug that made you jump up and down for an hour and a half, I would jump up for 2. For 2. That's the way it affects me. Yeah, and I'm afraid of it because, again, I look at it, I understand that all drugs affect different people different ways. But I always hearken back to these, why I think that it's risky. And I'll tell you this story real quick. I don't even know if I shared this. I had a girlfriend at the time, Kathy, who wanted to give me an over-the-counter drug for I think I was having some sleep weirdness or whatever it was. And she gave me this medication she thought that would be helpful. It was very natural. And, you take it at night. It's just 2 tablets and you go to sleep. Well, whatever it was, this thing screwed up my sleep so bad that it put me in like there are certain stages of sleep. So I was beyond REM, I guess, right? So I'm in REM sleep beyond that. But whatever was happening in the dream, I thought we were invaded by aliens, and there were these it was crazy. And I couldn't wake up.
Rod sleep, yes.
Yeah, exactly. It was everything that was happening to me I thought was real, and I couldn't when I realized I was in a dream, I couldn't wake up, and I had to force myself. I had to literally pull myself out of the dream physically. I woke up freaking out and explaining this dream and talking about how real it was, and I was hallucinating even when I opened my eyes. Well, an hour later, she's sitting on the floor with her laptop computer, and I can see her from behind sort of chuckling, like her body. You know how your body moves when you're chuckling, like uncontrollably? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at her, and I'm going, are you crying or are you laughing? And she turns around, and she is in tears, laughing her behind off. Well, she went online to go find out the side effects of this drug. It was told that you weren't even supposed to take 2 of these tablets, that you were only supposed to take 1, because you would run the risk of, without a doubt, incredible hallucinations, I guess it was described, that it was almost detrimental to your mental state if you took more than one. And I'm like, this stuff was over the counter at a GNC? And she was like, we found out later that it was taken off because of the same complaint. But that's how I feel about drugs. It's like I don't trust anything and anybody that anyone gives me because it is a scary, especially if it's a painkiller. I think it's detrimental.
I don't trust any drugs, quite honestly. And I had a problem with the GNC drug too. But I'm telling you, when it comes to opioids, this is just a PSA for your audience because I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Do not get started with them because it's a physical addiction. Horrible. It's horrible.
Physical addiction is the best way to describe that. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Well, no, I don't think anybody. Sokolowski says, "Don't blame the drug, blame yourself." I don't blame the drug. I do blame myself. I blame the girlfriend who gave me 2 tablets. But
no, but people get on it from the doctors, and I'm telling you, if the doctor offers it to you, just say no. I'll suck up the pain. Just don't even bother with it.
I know. My former mother-in-law was like that too. Even though she was at the risk of getting her leg amputated, and they wanted to give her I think it was Percocet at the time. They wanted to give her. She was scared to death of that. She was like, "No, I just can't do it." She was afraid because she thought just one pill that would be it for her. So some people, like you said, the Advil is hell. I'll just take those.
No,
I've been there before.
Granted, if it's someone that's terminal and terminal, then that's a completely different thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just quality of life at that point.
Right.
So that's a completely different thing. But if it's a pain you can get over it without it. Trust me, it's better off.
You got it. Thank you, boss. I appreciate you. As always, folks, it's always a rip-roaring show here. I want to thank Jennifer Sparks and the Sparks Report. Check out her Substack article in Substack. It's called the Sparks Report, Jennifer Sparks. We're going to have her back very soon. She's all into the local stuff going there and in-depth reporting that she does. We'll get her back here as well. And thank you, Lori. I just got a great picture that she just sent of myself, Roland, and Michael A. She just sent me a picture of the three of us at Wooden Tap back in, what was that, November? Yeah, back in November. Yeah, and don't worry, folks. If those of you who are asking, efforts are being made. We're gonna do something really, really soon out there. I don't know where we're gonna do it. Roland, I'm about to say, Joey. We got a bunch of other spots that we can do events at, right? I mean, Wooden Tap, I loved. We got plenty
Wooden
of
Tap,
spots.
yeah.
But
There's
I
plenty more.
Really loved Wooden Tap. That was a nice little place that they had upstairs. That was cool. Do we hold a lot of events at Wooden Tap?
We've done a few there.
Done a few? Okay.
Yeah.
If you had another place, where would you go?
Well, I would say, ironically, we've done a few events at multiple locations they have.
Oh, that's right. They have multiple locations. They sure do. Okay. Maybe we'll make Wooden Tap like the official look. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, there's definitely other places we've done, like the FMs and the stations in general have done some stuff.
Yeah, because they're all under they're all under the same umbrella, so we can do it pretty much anywhere. Hey, you know what I would like to do? Like, I would love to do like one of those store openings or just one of those in stores, like at. Every time I used to drive by, they used to do something like at a Dunkin' Donuts or a McDonald's or something like that. I would love to do that because I'm totally inspired by Donald Trump being at the drive-thru.
We're doing those big like sky searchlights like they used to do at the mall.
Yes!
So everyone knows where Reese is.
Yes! That may be a little over the top. I'm not going to lie. I would feel like I would feel like a big deal if somebody would have put one of those big spotlights on there. I was like, oh my God, look at me. That would be cool though.
I know some people. I'll see what I can do for you.
Okay, all right, okay. We'll just, what we'll do? We'll just tape some flashlights and put it on.
There we go.
And we'll just put some flashlights, like one of those industrial flashlights, and we'll just put them on like on a drill. And we'll just have some and we'll just push the button and just have them spinning.
Just a little strobe effect. I like it.
We'll do something simple. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate you, man. I love it when you're here.
It's all good, man. I love it.
Thank you, man. Folks, we'll be back tomorrow. Again, like I said, it's ladies' night. Roseanne will be here. I know that we've got something that we're arguing about. No fight, but we have something that we're arguing about or debating about. She is not happy about this, that woman, Sadie Perkins, the woman who was trying to inject race in that whole Texas flood thing. So I know she's going to want to talk about that tomorrow. I had to stop her from posting online. Like, I feel bad about that, but I had to tell my own wife, don't post online about some of these things. People are going to read that. Do you understand that? And people are just like, well, she's not her own person now because she's married to you. No, she's not her own person now. So she has to be careful. She wants to say, not that she wants to say a whole bunch of ridiculous things, but she's got to be careful. Social media. Got to tell her that stuff. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You, have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. Let's get to Mark Christopher with your BPS traffic update. Mark, we'll see you mañana. Oh, no, you're back here tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. If you're heading into Hartford.
All right, sir.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Not a problem, buddy. Talk to you next adventure.
You got it. Bye.
Traffic.
Bye.
44.
All right, everybody. Mañana. And let me get ready for. I'm going to go see Superman. I'll have my review tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. I will have my review of Superman tomorrow. We're going to see the next showing coming up. So stay tuned for that. You guys be good.